Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Today we got a big day ahead of us with those earnings coming in, and we're seeing some pretty good upside for now, and we still have some to come down the way here with Apple, right? Apple will be showing up later on today, and we'll notice that Amazon might be showing up later today as well, seeing some upside there. But the things really helping out the market right now are Meta, right? Meta with the good earnings there, and Microsoft overall saying, hey, good things for Microsoft. My goodness. What a move to start off the day. We do notice that the SPY, we were talking about the inner structure in here with the 5-minute, talking about how to treat these type of moments, and boom, to the upside. So you did get confirmation for upside yesterday. And now we're looking for what? That test of 562, 567, or all the way up to 576. Now, we talked about how there can be some kind of fade with this to come back down into this area. Then we'll see if we can scoop that back up. For the time being, we could just see that extend for a little bit of time as we get to that daily expected move. Who needs GDP or jobs when you have Meta and Microsoft, right, Finn? Who cares about that macro data before a weekend, you know? Who cares? Who cares that we just had a terrible GDP reading before the weekend, right? Yes, I am very fishy about this move. I am not going to be holding anything, not going to be really taking too many plays over the weekend because I think there's a lot of risk that this is just some kind of pump and then we just see one little piece of bad news and boom to the downside for a little bit of time, at least for a bigger 2-hour pullback. So it's rough. It's rough because people are going to read into this and be like, yes, everything's back and good. And then they're probably not going to realize, oh, what did the guidance say? Wait a sec. What did the guidance say? I think 564. I think anywhere up here makes total sense. 562 to 567 makes a lot of sense. So I think you're pretty much like, hey, I wonder if we just get there right now. What if we just do this, drop down, get that to turn around on Friday with the earnings again, get up to here, and then you see some kind of sell come in. Before the weekend, maybe we don't see a sell come in. It's just tricky, but or it extends into Monday or Tuesday. That's why I'm not really talking about playing it. I'm just like, it just looks a little bit fishy to be going up with something like earnings and then not realize we did just get a few pieces of some bad data. Amazon, good things. I do think the earnings will continue to be good. I do think the earnings will continue to be good. So Amazon, I actually think this could end up extending, possibly even all the way up to that 206. Remember that 206.24? It's possible with earnings, but I'm more paying attention to that 197.53. Maybe a little bit higher up towards like 198.50 or something like that. Pretty much you got to draw your block. So we could include this, technically. You could include it. If you wanted to make it smaller, I think this would make the most sense. Something like this right here would make the most sense. And then you'd kind of see like, oh, okay, we got to get through here. Might be off a little bit here. So if you wanted to, though, you could extend it all the way up into that resistance point, and I think that'd be perfectly fine. But for the time being, I would just say these right here, this right here in this area. So looking at that 195 first, if you can get through that, hold that, then it looks like you're pretty much set to do something like this, right? If you're not going to stop here and have to come back, well, then I think you actually could extend that up, right? See some kind of big gap or something like that. Continue that to this type of area. And then look for that to roll to create structure. But if it's anything less than that, I'd be a little bit worrisome. Now, Microsoft was like fantastic. I mean, look at this thing. Look at that, just getting right back up into the next seller zone, right? The big seller zone. So I would expect some fading, but overall to probably hold up with, say, Apple and Apple and Amazon earnings afterwards, hold up the SPY, right? And then after that, we'll probably see rotation into something else for a bit of time. Whatever's pulling back, like IWM hasn't broken out yet fully. This still needs that upside move, so you could see that rotation move happen here as well. But we'll see. For the time being, we just want to focus on what's going on right now, right? We don't want to read too far into the future, be paying attention to the past right now. We need to pay attention to what's happening right now. Right now, you're seeing good things, and you're just saying, hey, is this enough profit for me right away? Or do I want to trail that up to like a daily expected move or at least 562? Yeah, and I think what you're going to see here is like, you're going to see some kind of little sell-off at some point today. Maybe it's at end of day. Maybe it's just before end of day, around like that 2 hours before power hour, that little right after lunchtime. And then you see Apple just start to turn around because Apple's down right now. And it's got a pretty sizable move. Apple could see a 10% move to the upside from earnings, especially if it tests 206 again. It's just, I'd be careful with those type of things. Like, I don't think I'll hold anything. I'm not going to try to play in earnings or anything like that. I'd be careful with it just because Apple and the whole China thing, oof, rough. And I think a lot of people might get excited with the green numbers, and then their guidance. There's no way if someone's giving guidance, if they even did, it can't look too good right now, right? If they're reading into guidance for the future now with everything going on and nothing resolved on the tariff side of things, yeah, they're probably going to be like, oh yeah, things are looking rough into the future unless something changes, and then that'll make everyone more linger and sit on that. We need a tariff deal. We need a tariff deal. We need a tariff deal. At the end of this, I think you need something to happen with tariffs to really break through and go to new all-time highs. I think you need to see something with tariffs. Volatility this morning. No divergence now on the MACD. But you do still have it here down here on the RSI, just so you're aware. So there's some opportunity to turn around. I would think that means like a little bit of volatility, and then we make a little bit more of a 30-minute divergence in the near term, but we'll have to see how that shapes up. I believe we are going to be above the 50, correct? Yeah, we are going to be above the 50 for now. And remember this, if this turns into this zone, right? If we come back into this zone, if we come back in, and we dink off the top, very probable to go to the next point, right? To that weekly expected move, daily expected move. If we come in all the way down to here, still very likely to go to that weekly expected move. If we start to break below the center of this, below 550, and use that as resistance, that is when we break to the downside. That is the most likely thing that we can see to end up lower, right? We can still use this zone as support now because we flipped it. If it comes down to here, rejects off, and breaks back to the upside, that's still saying upside. It's usually the second move you want to be watching, right? The first move, oh, it got to here. Okay, that second move. If that curls back down, it's bad. Okay, it's bad. But if it just curls up and keeps going, breaks through that top side again, ooh, you're shooting up towards that move. So I don't think we'll dip in that far. I think we'll more so look for stuff like this, stuff for like this, maybe down to this line. But for now, looks good. Right. Nice job. Start off the day. I'm just playing back and forth with my fun account these days. It's not significant money whatsoever. That's why I don't really consider them trades. I'm just having some fun this week. But we're done having fun this week. That was the last play I want to take. Turning $100 contracts into 380. Nice, not bad, not bad. I was staring at this all day and hanging out with my daughter, and I saw this little I saw us take this back, tag it twice, and then once it broke through here, I said, "Yep, that's what I was looking for." Long. They're gonna front run this, and then they front run it. Really, all day I was looking for this to see if it'd be a better opportunity, even better at lower prices. See, or even this. This would have been great too. Some kind of fake out move like this, wicks back up. That would have been great too. But this is what I got, and so I took that for like what? I think I took it for like Friday close, and I just took the 362 because I thought we might just open up there. Now I think that we have a chance to do what? Well, I think we have a chance to try to use this area to potentially head higher later. I really think they would want to be turned down. I really think they would want to be remaining at lower levels at some point towards midday, but that's more the psychology side. Yeah, nothing crazy though, Richard. Whenever I do those short plays, I always use the fun account. Those aren't really like I don't even consider them like real trades because you know that fun account, right, Richard? We got to see what we're. I just got to build it back up for a second so I can YOLO another one with our boy. You know, Richard. Yeah, I highly suggest like looking at these and taking your money and running. Right, I think taking money and running in these type of areas for Meta is fantastic. And you do have updated monthly expected moves over on Patreon, just so you guys are aware. Right, Patreon members, make sure that you're looking at Patreon because you do have monthly expected moves. That way you can kind of form a plan around this. But yeah, Meta and what was it, Microsoft? I think these will, fade the move a little bit, but to suggest that a fade has to be like this, that's just a lot. All right, that's just a lot. It's more likely for today. Maybe you even react up higher, but maybe we do fade back into this zone a little bit, and then we're able to curl back up, and then around this area, we'll talk about this gap being filled. And this is why do you see how things are shaping up over the weekend? Do you think this is great for Microsoft to leave behind this massive gap before a weekend? I don't think so. I personally don't. Just my little alarm bells are kind of ringing right now. Just my risk bells being like, I don't know if I'll short or anything like that. If it gives me something to short, I'll short it. But for the time being, it says just be cautious with this weekend. Don't ruin your weekend by taking something and then waking up on Monday to something awful. Very nice. How's Nvidia doing with this? Pretty good. Liking it. Uh-oh, 114. Yeesh. Yeesh, 114. This is kind of an important level for Nvidia. Like I said, if we see something like this, just watch out. Nvidia has some time till earnings. So we're watching the SPY, seeing if this thing's going to move up and down. We'll have to find out. How close did the Qs get to that upward expected move? Pretty close. Pretty close. Okay. Why do you not use extended hours? Because I don't want to. My strategies, they work with that. It's just they work differently. So take your money and run. Lucas like, take your freaking money and run. Jobless claims increased more than expected. Seems like market likes it. That's so freaking crazy, man. Well, maybe it's like, oh, we have the slowing in economy, but but people have already lost their jobs. I don't know. I just think the macro data looks not very good right now. I would say on the verge of, yeah, it's probably bad. Amazon today, I'd be looking more, Amazon reporting, they're up here already. I'd actually be looking at Apple if I'm going to risk or reward anything. Hasn't seen a breakout moment yet. Amazon has daily divergence, so both of these would be, high potential to at least test in this zone, right? Right, we cut the same block here. Cut the same block. I think we got the block pretty correct there. So now if we reject off of this area, is this a good thing? No. Do I think it extends? Yeah, I think we see something. All right, I think we see something up here. We just have to see if we reject from something in this area towards like 95. But you have earnings. I think you're going to skip through this area. I really do. At the end of all this, I think we're front running good things. I think this is a major front run, and we're going to see this thing probably take off. But do I think the risk to reward is there now? I mean, no, because you saw the big move today. So if you see this, it'd be like, hey, risk to reward, okay, maybe. But I'm not someone who likes to play earnings. That's why my trade wasn't with an actual like stock with earnings. It was just paying attention to the SPY, taking a play with the SPY real quick. Having some fun with it. You provide a live trading streaming paid service? No, I do not. No. I think we just talk about good decisions, right? And when things are wrong. And this is an environment where it's like earnings week. You could just sit out this week, come back next week, see things fall down, see things go up, see things differently, and just wait for your moment. How far can we pull back? I would say, you know, down, well, all the way into the bottom of the zone, technically, right? 543.55. 543.55 is technically where we should say, but I'd really be watching this 549.50, 550, you know, 550 area. And just see if you ever even get this. You might not get this. You might extend first. Then you might make a shelf in here, see that go up again. But I think that this is a big enough gap that something like this throughout the day, maybe we trail up a little bit, start to turn down, then around like 1 p.m. we turn around, then you see them front run it at the end of the day, just like they did yesterday. I just think you're going to see that moment of rotation, right? Rotation would be out of this, right? This would be, because what are the earnings? Shoot, I always forget what the earnings. Microsoft and Meta just came out. Okay, so Microsoft and Meta, right? M's, the M's. This was the M's. This right here, this little downturn right here will be when things start to change to Apple and Amazon, the A's. That's what I think. But it's already rotated into Amazon. So I'm already kind of incorrect with that because Amazon's already seeing upside. So is Apple. Apple's coming back too. Trying to. That's what I think at this point. If I had to guess with earnings, I would say this is all to go test like 567. My best day of the year, even be the 90-day pause rally. Hell yeah, Rajiv. Well done. Underrated channel. Appreciate your experience and insight. I appreciate you saying that, Edward. I don't like to be in the business of people doing exactly what I do because I'm human too. I think you're better to be like, hey, the whole teach a man to fish thing. And we still have more, it takes time. It takes a long time. Like, we've never seriously talked about these boxes because I like to try to keep it simple. But in times like this, what did I say? Bear markets are where I usually am like, fantastic. And that's why I trade those shorter term ones sometimes during this time. Like, no one is going to expect this in any way. But if we pull this up, it's like, look where we're at. We pull up the SPX, we look where we're at, we're still below that line. Now we could peek our head above that line. That would add some probabilities too. Like, hey, we could remain in this area. We could actually test the upper side of that area if this is broken in any way. But it overall says like, hey, watch out if we start to turn down from around this line. That's going to be a problem. Then you go over to the SPY and you're like, well, how many days has that been overall like pretty good from the time we broke out? You're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Friday, a 9-day. You got yourself a 9 count, possibly. I'm not a big counts guy as far as trading. I'm more on just like let the price action tell you what it is. Let the MACD and RSI give you some confirmations, and you're happy. Yeah, someone brought up gold. Gold this morning. Gold this morning dropping off, right? Dropping off. Now, when we were talking about gold, and maybe we need to look at futures for this, honestly. When we were talking about gold, we were talking about it being able to turn back around at some point. I would say for the time being, if it is going to turn around, if this daily scale is just going to keep dropping, this would be huge, okay? This is the way that we just see a mega squeeze right now. You see a deal with China right now. You see a deal with China being made right now. That is just like, that is just like, I don't know about that. I don't think that's going to come. I think that they are talking, but China doesn't want to say they're talking because they're trying to get deals with other countries. That's what I think. And if you are lying about talking, holy crap, that is a really bad thing to do, Donald. Don't lie about those things because people are moving their money for those type of reasons. But this could still be the daily pullback. And all you see here is like another lip over here, and then it just falls right back down. You get all the way back down to like, around 2,900, 3,000. If you end up down to here, that's bad. But look where you're at right now. Pretty good. I still would say this needs more time. But if this can flip around now, now's the time for this to flip, right? I mean, you notice this. We see a big move, right? What do we go? We go down to this area right here. We dink off it a couple times. Then we start to see upside. Okay, same thing. Do the same thing. And then you see what you have to do, right? So if I see positivity, where's my zone? Where's my zone, right? If we're going to head lower, then we're probably going to have to reject all of this. Let's include all of it. And just say, hey, just to give us a general idea if this is rejecting, well, we can come up into this area and just go bink, and it's done. We can go up to here and still be done, right? Still can be. It's just less probable if you get to here. Once you get to here, it's more probable to see something like this. Something like this. Maybe like last time, you kind of grind in the middle, pop above it, use it as support again, and then you head to the upside. So that's what I'd be looking at for gold for now. Just see if it's able to get back. Now's kind of a moment where it really has to. Because if you get down to here and all you see is this and it rolls, that's going to be bad. That's when you are retesting into this, right? You're retesting a little bit lower and possibly even heading all the way back down to here. Like 3,000, yeah. So now's kind of a moment where it's like, build it back now or you're in some trouble. The next bounce will tell you a lot, most likely. Tesla for the time being, seeing a little bit of positivity. Very good for Tesla here. I think Tesla does see more upside. I think if you're looking at this from this perspective, you've really just held up in this area very well. If you're going to do something bad, well, then that 30-minute needs to cross now, and that's when you're losing the 5. So 30-minute crosses down, bad, right? But all it has to do is remain better and curl back up. I mean, you're looking relatively flaggy with a few little hiccups here and there, right? So I think you're flagging out. I think you got maybe one more move left in you unless you get rotated out of so people can play into, the Amazons and the Apples. But for the time being, I would say I would be cautious here, though. I would still say this weekend. I don't think it's guaranteed we're going to just see a sell-off after the weekend. I just think it's very iffy. I'm just saying, if we're like ending Friday and we see a look like this in any way, and we're ending Friday like way up here or something like that, it's just like, do I really want to hold on to that? Do I really want to? Probably not. Probably not. Now, that's a good sign that it can go higher, but we have to see it remain higher and not have any weakness in it. Because your 2 hours is still just very positive. So all that has to happen here is a 2-hour extension. But yeah, for something like Tesla, I don't think it'll be like the easiest. I don't think these plays are like fantastic. But if you really look here, if we wanted to build up over time, you're kind of just like, okay, we built up to here. Well, technically we built to here. What do we do? Okay, sideways. Then we go to here. And what do we do? Well, overall, not the worst in the world. A little bit sporadic, a little bit bigger. And then if we can just break through this guy, okay, that's a new high. Use it as support. Go a little higher. That's technically how you would try to get to 328.50. I'm just talking about the risk that this goes like that. So I don't think I think playing from down here makes total sense. I think playing from even this breakout made total sense. I think playing this breakout could make sense as long as you know, like, hey, I got to be quick with it. I got to pay attention to like a weekly expected move, maybe a daily expected move on a Friday. That's really what I'd be looking for. So Patreon members, we will be putting out the daily expected moves for all the stocks that we cover later tonight. Oracle, I think someone was asking about this yesterday. Oracle, decent sized move there. And we're able to get past that block. That's nice. We gapped above the center. Not bad. Now we're actually getting into this block. So we'll see if this can break to the upside. So for now, technically, you could like move this up like this. Probably a little bit bigger, but, for the sake of it, it's probably something like that. You'll notice, what does it line up to? It lines up to new support and new resistance every time. Like, If you just pay attention to where these blocks are, you'll usually look across and things will be good. So for the time being, I'd say that's pretty important. And wherever you reject from in here is going to be a big deal. Did you have good reversal signals? Yes. So I think this is highly probable to get to that top side or even break out. That would be great. But I'm still looking for what? I'm still looking for a continuation in this type of scenario. Yeah, gap fill and things like that. If that starts to roll from there, that's bad. But you did leave a gap behind, right? 1, 2. So these gaps are the reason that I'm really worried about some kind of roll at some point over the weekend. So I want this to extend and hold up in this zone. That means technically this trade stops like here. And then the next trade, I have to wait for confirmation here to potentially see that extend all the way higher. I don't think taking it right now is like the best thing in the world because all you have to do is go, okay, well, the 2 hour is already creating some weird stuff. It's overbought, and all it has to do is this. And then it might be a better opportunity. A lot to go off of there, actually. Pretty good amount. Not bad. Not bad. It's just I want it to extend. Ah, that's some good stuff. Okay, now we'll see if we can extend 565. We hit 565 early on this morning. I'd be looking for the move to potentially fill that gap. I don't know. I'm not going to like play that in any fashion, by the way. I'm not talking about that. I think bull trades are the easier ones right now. So even if this did this and crashed down like this, I'm not shorting here. I'm looking for the rebound from here to make that same move again. Right? If I was doing shorter term, I've done a couple of shorter term trades, both going very well this week, so I'm happy about them. Now I might put my little shorter term trading hat on the table now. Be done for the week. That was good. Wolfie boy still seeing good stuff. See, this is kind of the mentality here. If we're gonna actually go up to this level, say we get to this level now, or like in like an hour and a half, we get to here. Then you see that flash down. Well, into the middle of the day, people are going to be going, oh, they're selling the earnings, and then around that last hour, you just see that little bump up start to take place. Or you might see what you saw yesterday, which is just this, right? It just goes kind of like up, and they're just showing their hand there. Let's use the zone to head higher. Very, very nice. Well, thank you guys for being here today. Hopefully you guys have some good coffee ready for your day. Hopefully you're understanding that there is a lot of risk over the weekend. I think that it's very justified to say, like, holding over the weekend after these massive moves from Microsoft. Hey, if I had an option play a month out and Microsoft just went up like 10% or whatever, yeah, I'd probably be out of that option play. Hey, that's just me though, man. You know, that's just me. You guys got to do what you got to do. I get it. But me, I like to make my profit. I like to take profit early and run around earnings time, man. I like to run far. Remember what we say? We say if you get the move before an earnings, talking about you, Amazon, why do I have to assume a bunch of risk when Amazon just went to that sell zone again? And like based on what we're seeing, I think it continues. Or at least I think Apple participates and tries to get up to where? Well, the actual zone. I think it tries to get at least up to the halfway point. I think it'll probably see more than this, just to be 100% with you guys. We're not going to take that overreaction over here. We'll take a little bit deeper than this, just a tiny, tiny smidge. Yeah, actually, I do like this level better. There you go. So something like this, right? Very good for Apple to be getting here, first of all. Very good for Apple to overall do what? Not be in overbought conditions before the earnings. Very, very good. 2 hour, not even getting really overbought and starting to do what? Starting to roll, but still remaining in this area, right? When you get to this level on your MACDs, right, what does it look like? Well, a lot of the times it's like up and sideways. I mean, look at this moment right here. Same type of thing, went into that resistance zone, failed, right? Big failure. Big failure. But you actually made divergences in overbought territory. You aren't even overbought here. I mean, either Apple's going to be the thing that plummets you, or Apple's going to be the thing that extends you to possibly go up to like 225.50, and then we'll see if we can hold up over time. But just remember, when you're coming from the downside and going into a zone, it's wherever if you break through that downside again, that's usually pointing towards lower prices than maybe even right here. I think you could potentially see something like this. And by the way, we need to delete this line. This line's not correct anymore. We have updated that for you in the Patreon. If you want the monthly expected second standard deviation, the 95% zone for May, we have that over on Patreon. Links down in the description. $7, and you get a bunch of good data there. So yeah, what I'm overall getting at is like this wasn't even that sporadic of a move, right? If it was doing this and then trailing up, right, and we were here, you'd be a lot more like, oh yeah, that's definitely more possible. Like that seems better looking. That seems everything, right? Really, really good looking. But at this point, you're just like, okay, if we do this off the earnings and fail, that's bad. If we do this and we still fail, that's bad. But if we do this and we can hold up, maybe use that center as support, that would be fantastic. So we just have to see. I think it's nice that it's not necessarily in overbought conditions, like going into it. It's really not. Like you can pull up this RSI and say, tell me that went overbought at all. Tell me that's not flagging, right? It is. So, and then after all this, I think we'll see like, some kind of small cap, some kind of IWM push, right? Somewhere in between the next few sessions here, maybe going into Monday, Tuesday. GME made new high, resilient along with Bitcoin. GME is still okay, right? GME is still okay. GME is still doing what it's got to do. It's got to keep remaining above that 27.15. Right now, we have updated monthly expected moves for GME. Remember that. So now you don't really have those percentages with you. But this is exactly what GME needs to do. It needs to break through. It still needs to break through and see something fantastic. If you can hold here, hold, that's great. Maybe use your buddy AMC as a version of like, hey, maybe this will tell me a hint. Look at the daily scale. See that blipped for a second? See, oh, okay, we came down. What did we do? This is very, very cool, actually. I want you to see this. This is actually awesome. Okay. So we take this. We're going to take it from... Yeah, we'll take the high point. Why don't we take the high point? Because it goes into those wicks as well. We go like this. Look at this. All right, look at this. What are we talking about here? Well, what did we do? We had a zone, right? We broke down to the new low, and we go, okay, we can mark this stuff off. All right, cool. That also includes some stuff over here, right? That's great. So what happened? Well, it came up to that area, right? And then it rejected off the center of it, and it came down. Okay, now you're gearing up. So if we start to see a different thing play out here, this is how you break through that zone. You actually tapered here, right? Then you actually see what? Low, technically a higher low. You're getting a higher low here for AMC. This is actually kind of cool. Now, AMC has earnings next week. I'm very skeptical about AMC earnings almost at all times, but still a good thing. Now we got to see how it behaves around the zone. So the zone told you everything you need to know. We'll be talking about that more and more because people have kind of thought that was helpful. Zoolander voice. Hell yeah. You think I'm not a good Googleizer? Any thoughts on Fly? Well, it's an IPO. So with IPOs, it's a little bit different. All right, with IPOs, I think you're trying to make quick money. I don't even know if you can do options or anything with this guy yet. But I'd just be looking at a 5-minute and seeing when it gives me some kind of bottom if I want to invest and say, hey, that potentially can be a low point for now. It's not going to give you confidence over time, but at least you know you're getting a better price than all these people. What do you see from the 5-minute? Serious divergence here. So now you can potentially see that 30 actually like 30-minute catch some ground and actually see a move to the upside. So what do I think for Fly? I think for now, it potentially can go up for a little bit, maybe come back down and fill that gap, retest like $8, and then see what happens. But you need to see more price action. Technicals with this are just not going to be helpful. You're looking for like, hey, was I a sucker here, or do I feel better about it here? Well, if you just didn't buy here, then you're already better off than like what? I mean, let's really look. If you buy right now, you're better off than the people that bought at 13. You're better off than pretty much 90% of people, right? Because look how big this is. This is who you're better off than. This is who you're with right now. Who do you think's better off? These people right now or these people? Like, what do you think the better decision is? This one right here or this one? This one. You're pretty much already, even if you bought right now, you're better off than 90% of people invested in it. I don't know. I honestly, SH33, I've never dabbled in them too much. I've done like QYLD. I've done QYLD, but a lot of people are bringing up these individual stock ones. I always say this, even about QYLD. Anything that is higher yield, because I'm assuming those are very high yield. High yield stuff likes to go down over time. But here's the thing. High yield stuff can be great cash flow for a few months, right? If you know some kind of big daily uptrend is coming and you have some covered call, like QYLD or something, or maybe it's just Tesla and you're going to see upside for a little bit, and you have to look at the correlation between those tickers. But for the most part, I would say I've done it. I've held it for cash flow. Like if I go on vacation or something, or I just don't feel like working for like 2 months. I mean, that's the benefit of doing what I do. Like being a trader is sometimes you can just take a month off. Sometimes I will literally just buy like, what, a couple, tens of thousands of dollars like QYLD or something that's high yield, hold it for 2 months, get the cash flow, get out. Like I think it's a fine thing to do if you understand the correlation and the fact that it won't lose value and you'll make more on the yield than you would lose in value over the next like 3 months, and you say, okay, I'm going to hold that while I'm on vacation. That's a very long vacation, especially for an American. But hey, hats off to you if you take a 3-month vacation. Oh, on car, as soon as I buy calls, it goes the opposite way. I don't think calls are the option here. I don't think even if this extends, I don't think calls are the option here. Calls were here, right? That's how I see it. Calls were right here. Once you had proof, double bottom on the retest, boom. Okay, that breaks, even breaks here, still good money. Okay, awesome. The short isn't necessarily, or the call isn't now. I think the call is here. I'll show you exactly where. I think the call is somewhere down in this box, right? I think especially if you see a tagga here, I think it's nice. You see that turn back up? I think the call is potentially here. Now, do I think we extend this move first? Well, we mentioned that yesterday as a very big possibility. But does it mean this is kind of like chasing? Right? Look at the 30-minute overbought. Right? This is the early stages of chasing, and then this could just like wick really quick. You could not get your order filled, and then you're down, trying to replace the order really fast. So I would rather see this, let it come back down, watch it curl back up, and then be like, okay, then I can play right in this break to say something like 567. That's more getting into the short term. That's how I like to do things, as far as letting the trade come to me, not just trading because I think that I have to have money risk 24/7 or all the time, or I guess 5 days a week. And then crypto on the weekends, I guess, if you really want to keep going with it. Yeah. So SH33, just I look at it as like a little short-term hold if I don't feel like trading, but I want to make a quick percentage or something. And you'd have to look at the risk and how they correlate to the underlying stock. All right, first we're gonna look at car because we got to see what we're loading the boat on today. All right, we got to see what we're putting this fun account to work for. I mean, bro, wait, that says Wednesday. Oh, that's next week. I'm not thinking so. I mean, I think that this earnings could get people excited about this. And then you get to May 7th, right? You get excited. And then May 7th, you actually see this tear down, right? Tear down. I mean, if we're really looking at this seriously, then this should be a nice breakout to the upside. This should be a nice breakout to the upside. Definitely should be, right? Let's take that top wick again, actually. I think that's lining up to resistance, so that's pretty good. Let's shorten that up. We'll shorten it up. Because that lines up to resistance just a little bit. Oh, a little bit better. Yeah, there's that tag. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Very nice. This isn't bad, but I want you to see what went on here. I could have extended that down to make it so the wick was directly on it. Not doing that, not being dishonest, right? Trying to be fair with how I look at things. Where is the actual resistance level? This wick helped me out with that, so that's fantastic. I knew like I was gonna take this one, but then I see the bodies over here, and then I look across and I go, okay. This is very good because you're seeing what? You're breaking to the upside, and you've seen that support come in right here. What do I need to see? I need to see this broken out. That can tell me that the direction for potentially, at least right before or after earnings, might be this way. But I think to go higher, you're going to have to see this. You can't like lose this zone again, right? So if you're going to break to the upside, that's fine. If you see good earnings or not. I think the better thing would be this. I think the better way to do it would be like, oh, okay, we go up for a couple of days. We go to here. We dip all the way back down. People think it's going down, right? You see something quick like boom, boom. It goes down with earnings, and then people start to buy that thing back up. That would be the better way to get to here. But earnings is such a 50-50 flip that all of that could just be thrown out the window, to be totally honest. But I like what the stock is doing right now. I like what the stock is doing right freaking now. I think right now it looks good because you've seen a lot of things like this, and this would give you some confidence that you're going to see some kind of test to the upside. Do I think it's a great play? I'm hesitant to say any earnings play is going to be a great play. It can be, but usually I just like look at what is having earnings and then going, okay, maybe I could take some risk out by trading this instead. Maybe just volatility, you know. It's not bad. As far as Baba goes, I think you just want to be patient, make sure the trade's good for your style. As far as Baba goes, I don't know if this will be bad for China. This is very good to do. Look at the resistance line we have up. Okay, 120, very important level. Okay, 120. Okay, awesome. I'm pretty much in this zone for this high, by the way. Pretty much here in a zone. We broke that to the downside. We head right back to the upside one, right? So that's good. And you're doing what? Moving sideways. So on the daily, this might look like a 2-hour pullback, right? Looks like a 2-hour pullback. So what does that mean? If I break to here, I'm probably filling that gap. If I see that and I see a closing bar, it's probably going to extend. But at that point, there's still risk. There's still risk of seeing reversal signals. Because if we really pay attention to this daily chart, we pay attention to the positivity we're getting. It is positive, right? But if we look at it right now, it's very controlled. So if it's very controlled and we see this and then we fall, we don't make it to that upside again, right? We don't see that extend. And we fail here. That's probably going to be a bumpy road, but we're probably going to end up down. Just looking at the structure of the MACD here, we can see, oh, if that rolled, it would be bad. So anything that tells me this could roll, I'm going to treat it as bad. So what I'd be looking for is if something bad shows up that could roll over a daily chart. If that shows its head, aka a 2-hour divergence, then I'm not going to take on that risk anymore. That's how I would look at it. Wolf squeeze in 30 minutes. Let's go look at Wolfie Boy. Do I need to get back in? Do I need to load the boat again? Hey, it's loading some boats. It's loading some boats. It's got earnings on the 8th. I don't know. Are people scared of these earnings now? Like, this is crazy, but it looks like we could get a sell-off in early to mid-May. Like an early sell in May, go away kind of theme. Yeah, for Wolfie Boy. 2-hour was able to cross. This is good, though. I mean, retesting into here, that's great. Yeah, that's really good. A retest, fill that gap, and then see this thing just whip back up. That'd be fantastic, actually. So, Wolf actually a good thing. I think if this can break this, I think you're going to here. I think you're going to 555-ish. Or what is that, 570, 575? So you can make a new high here. I think it's good. I mean, obviously it can change, right? Things can just go like this. If you just see a major fade off of that, and we see that confirm and you start to break here, well, then you're probably going back down to these lows for a retest. So we'll see. People are making decisions before earnings, which is always a risky thing. Anytime people are making decisions before earnings, just watch out. That could be the algorithms convince you it's good. A few things show good earnings, so retail gets in, and then it just rejects off and goes down. Now, Netflix, on the other hand, I think Netflix is on its last legs. I do, before it goes and tests 1,000 again. Actually, it's extended up, so you got to pay attention to 1,065, 1,064 right in there. Does our boy Rumble have an earnings coming up? No, already did. Okay, cool. So 2-hour pullback. Let's go. 2-hour curls up for something like Rumble here. You can see a pretty good move. I'd be paying attention to 885 next. Maybe a little higher, maybe towards $9. $8.50 to $9. We'll say $8.50 to $9. Very nice. And then let's go back over. Let's go check on the Qs for a sec. Yeah, we're just sitting throughout this morning, which is good. Then around 9:30 or 10, we want to see this either surge up and then see a wick come in or drop down, right? So what we want to see is like either you just sit here for another hour or maybe 30 minutes, and then you start to pull down, right? And then on Friday, or into the end of the day, here, let me get closer in. This is just ridiculous. I'm being stupid. So what I'd like to see is maybe this either start to move up a little bit and then start to fall down dramatically, like it's out. And then by the end of the day, you start to see this again. So something like boom, boom, and then we turn up. And then you just see that extend on Friday. Maybe seeing some chop back and forth on the Friday to remain at higher levels. And then we see if that thing can come back down. All right. Now, if this is going to remain good, this is awesome, right? If it remains well, if it's seeing the breakout here, that's a good thing. It's seeing us get above this, that's a good thing. Which means anytime we go up to here, we should be aware that this can take place. Okay? If we're not able to get all the way to here, even if we get all the way to here, there is still a probability to do this. At this point, this would be probable, like a 427. Fill the gaps. There is still a small probability that you go like, if you get to here, you go all the way down to here. Very small though, I think, at that point. I think you'd more so be paying attention to this, right by your monthly expected move. Whenever that makes reversal signals though, is when we'll talk about it, right? If it makes it here, we'll talk about it. For the time being, we got to see reversal signals here, but just so you know, it doesn't just, if you get to here, this is still possible. It's not the most probable at that point, though. Unless we just give up all of the earnings gains completely and see that reverse down lower after earnings, actually, that would be how that happens. Buy at these prices. You're asking to tell someone to tell you to buy, and two, you're also asking like around earnings. Around earnings. If you were just investing and you saw this, then you'd already know what to be doing, right? You already know that it can do this still and still be good, right? If you understood what's going on right here in this space, you're not really fearful of some absolute crash at this point. Maybe you're reacting if the daily crosses down in case that would happen, but for the most part, this could just do that. It could hold up better. It's just not getting upward side of that zone. I might need to extend that zone up a little bit. Let me look at this. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good level. You could extend it up. I still like this, I think, better for the time being, in case we get something lackluster from earnings. Filling those downside gaps is very possible. Yes, then he's aware of the correct things. I think he's aware that the dollar hasn't seen a major comeback. I think he's aware that this could be some kind of people reading into the earnings now, not reading into the guidance later. And even if companies aren't giving guidance, it's for that reason. So which way is it going to bounce? I think if you get the, I think either way, we're going to see a test of at least 562, right? Which is just above where you are. I think you could extend all the way to 567 by tomorrow for sure. But I think the opportunity most likely is not here. It's most likely not here. If the market decides to be nice and give you opportunity, I think it would be right here. I think it would be somewhere in this type of area. You see that come back down into the zone, use it as support. That'd be best case. I don't think you'll see a death drop to 535 on Friday. I think you'll see upside into Friday, at least midday Friday. Like I think you'll see some upside, but you know, that's all I think. So is that really a trade? The actual trade is probably just a little 15-minute curl up, right? We see the 15-minute confirm down. You see it go like this. Then around noon, you start to see that base out. Then you see that kind of explode at the end of the day. And then you know, hey, they're front running. Okay, this is very possible, right here. So we'll see. This was expected, though, is what you would say, right? Look at this. Expected move here, expected move here. So is anyone caught off guard? Is the market maker or is Wall Street caught off guard by this at all? No. Which means this was priced in. And if it's a big sporadic move to you, but it's priced in, it's probably not a sporadic move to them. It's probably just a move to them, which tells me if this doesn't give up, like, if this doesn't give up all of this, then I think we're very, very likely to just see that. I think it extends, but it's whether or not you want to assume that risk. I'm not going to be trading that now. I've done too many plays with my fun account. I'm having too much fun with my fun account. I got to stop it. You know, once I start winning too much on the fun account, it's not fun anymore. That's for the losers. Yeah, VIX dropping again. I would love for it to extend to 565 first. That's fine. I think more sellers would get involved there. VIX dropping down again. Once again, looking for some kind of actual thing that can set this off. I guess you can make a little something down there. It's just you're not even oversold or anything. So volatility is just doing more squeeze-like things. What is odd is you can trade it. It is odd, but they connect it to the SPY to Mad Dog. Most things that trade VIX connect it to the SPY for the calculation for their price. But yeah, VIX is not a dollar read. It's just a reading. It's just reading those calls. Those calls puts calls, what, 30 days out? So that tells you what about volatility right now? A lot of people would be potentially long 30 days out is what volatility coming down means, right? Volatility has this look. That means over time here, people have had a bunch of puts or whatever, no calls, and now they're all starting to eat up the calls again is how you would kind of read into it. Which means if we're seeing warning signs in any way, we got to be aware of the contrarian indication there and see if there's any reversal signals for VIX. And I like to see those at the same time as the SPY. The reason for that is sometimes technical analysis with the VIX is a little bit rough. Why? Because it's not a price, it's a reading. Yeah, I look at that, I guess you would say 0.12. Below, yeah, below, okay, below 0.15. Yeah, I'm looking for that reading of about 12.12. Anything above 20, though, a little risky. SoFi, I did see someone mention SoFi. SoFi, I do think this is interesting. I think this is really bad that you did not see what you saw from the market. I think now you can use this as resistance right above you, right? Now we could always pop up for a second and make that right shoulder, right? That could have been left head, right shoulder. And I think you might get some relief here, so I'd be watching for the lower high. right? The 30-minute lower high looks like, oh, we peak our head above, we fill this gap, and then we reject back down. And that is how we most likely will get to where? Well, eventually you're going to end up here. I know we draw them in kind of straight lines, but just know it can be a bumpy road, right? But you're kind of looking for, roll, roll, something like this. And then hopefully you make a divergence down at these levels. And then you have a little hint. Yeah, you can kind of see how this would pop up like this, and what structure would you have even if we just did that right there, or even filled the gap? Well, you still could potentially say like, oh, this is overall just a lower high. I mean, you could call it cup and handle, call it whatever technical term you want, but it's just, hey, if the 30-minute rolls up on the MACD and rolls down, keep it simple. If this goes like this, and then goes like this, is that good or bad? It's bad, right? That's bad. So can it be good for now? I think you could possibly fill that gap. Do I think it's worth betting behind for myself? No. All right, here we go. Let's extend it a little bit. I wanted this to extend until about 43 minutes from now would be fantastic. Get a test of that 565, see what happens. Is Target on the verge of a breakout? I did invest in Target the other day. My investment is down 0.55%. It's a rough time. But yeah, I think Target looks pretty damn good. That's why it made it on the list here. I think from the daily perspective, all I have to do is look at this daily perspective and go, yeah, I like this. All I have to do is look at the monthly perspective, and I go, yeah, I kind of like this. I kind of like this price. If it goes down to lower prices, I'm available to buy it, right? I don't really care. This is a very good retest. Look at this. Look at this chart, man. And then look where this retest actually took place. One, you got one retest right here. Showed big support. Two, right in this type of area. It's almost like a zone, right? It's kind of like a zone right here. And you're just marking this kind of deal off. Probably something like this. And then you're going, okay, if it can hold up in that area in any way, especially in the top side of it, then it's very likely to bounce off. And what do we have here? A couple of highs. So, you know, resistance area turns into what? A support area. We see that happen once here. Let's see it happen again here. This is all just making me go to the conclusion of like, and I don't have to think that much, right? If I'm planning on investing in something, then I'm planning on holding it, right? Just maybe depends on how long. But with this type of monthly signal, with this type of price, I can potentially hold on to this right here for like 5 years and it'll probably be okay. And guess what? Target pays a dividend. So as far as investment goes, I like the price. As far as investment goes, I like the daily signals I'm seeing. As far as price goes, I like where we're tapping into with that price. I like that we're testing the breakout back here from 2019. And that's fantastic. Where you are getting COVID pricing. Like nothing about this is bad on the investment side. Options, going to be a different story, right? And all we have to do is break through here, right? If we break through that in some way, that's fantastic. If we want to show some volatility, you know, for a few months, whatever. Don't care, right? Because this is just a great price to me. Yeah, I don't mind it, right? Investing can be the best thing for people, right? If you're not good at the shorter time frames, be honest with yourself. You might want to give yourself some time, right? Don't be too honest with yourself and be like, "Oh, I failed twice, so I'm bad." No. You know, give it some time. Maybe draw on zone today. It's because everything's going and everything is based on like, this is just when you read into price action, you potentially should be making zones like everywhere. When it's based on mostly price action, which right now this is kind of what we're reading into the most is price action, how it's behaving, especially as we get into this area where that we're at right now, that 562. Well, we want to be paying attention to price action because why? Well, one, we have earnings going on. We have data dropping. We have data dropping tomorrow. We have more earnings coming out tomorrow night. That data was overall bad, but we're seeing upside because of earnings, which just flashes that red light, right? It's just beaming right now, going, oh, watch out. I don't know about risking things. I don't know about risking things over the weekend. Minute call outs on SPY. We could probably pay for a service. GME crossing 28 right before open gives me a bullish outlook. You need to do something crazy from here, Jari, and that's the truth of it. If you fail here for GME, you're going to see most likely 24.50. You're going to fill the gaps. If you fail now and you turn down on the daily scale with those signals, you're going down to 24.50. Doesn't mean it can't be good later, but it does mean it's not so good right now. Well, actually, that would say it is good right now. It is good right now if it could curl up this 2 hour. But if this rejects here, what are you saying? Well, we made a new high. That's actually a good thing. But right now it's looking kind of like a sweep and a trap. So if this rejects completely and we start to lose this wick, right? We start to lose this. Well, we just took that. That's a good sign. So if we don't lose this, that's very good. If you lose this, you're going down to here. If you lose this, you're going down to here, $25. And other than that, you don't really have many gaps. So actually $25. I misspoke. 24.50, but I would say $25. If you need to go even lower, 22, 23, 22.50 to $3. So you see how you're at that point where a squeeze can happen. You are there. But at the end here, you're not seeing the things you need to. You didn't see a big move on Monday, Tuesday, anything like that. And now you're unconfirmed, so you might not even have the best hints. Just how it goes. AMC, I think, was pretty decent there with holding price, but it's not really giving you that confidence. It's really looking like, hey, there's going to be a daily curl down. All right. We got to here. That's great. You would have liked to get a little higher, I think. A little bit higher. So maybe we extend that in some way soon. You know, still looking at that 2 hour. But if this would happen, is this bad? No, this is good. The daily's in positive territory. So even if that daily crosses down, you just go, okay, it's not now. Okay, now it is. Right? You can still just be patient with it and look for the opportunity when it looks like an opportunity. GME moves like everything else. I think AMC is more difficult than GME. Yeah, if you're bringing up monthly candles, every monthly candle looks like fantastic. All right, here's our 562 test maybe. Let's see what happens around there. So I would want that extension to 565.50. If we can curl down after seeing that test in the next, I would say 35, 36 minutes, then we can go back down into the zone. If we're able to show the formations of turning around down here, I would say that that next move to go retest that level up towards 567 to 565 again would be on the table. MSOS for the kids. Oh god, this guy. It was seeing some good percentages though. Yeah, it's gonna be rough with what's going on now. Very good, very good. Still very good. Right? Now we just want to see like, okay, it's probably this area right here. And I know Richard doesn't want me to draw a box. God, I want to. But you can see this area here very important. So you start to lose, we'll say this wick. You start to lose this, it's a problem. 2 hour showing divergence there, 30-minute, closer to the center line, but not that close. So this could still extend. We could still extend. We could still extend. But for the time being, if this would break through, say this low right here, and then maybe come down into here and use that as support and get some kind of bounce, watch for that roll moment. Watching for something like this. That 2 hour divergence doesn't give me too much hopium. Let's put it that way for upside. But I think the 30-minute is saying, hey, we have some room here. If we curl up, just watch. But for now, I'd just be worried. I'd be like, yeah, that's kind of not the trade I want, right? It's a fun one, though, Justin. Are we supposed to get tariff news today? Possible. Like I said, the thing that absolutely skyrockets you here is like for sure tariff news. For sure, good. No ifs, ands, or buts. Tariff news. I mean, I heard China, or, well, West, whatever you would call it, West Taiwan. I heard that was like, they took off some ethane, something, some tariff on some kind of gas or some shit. One more. Gas? You want to talk about some gas? I got plenty. 30-minute able to cross up. This is good. This is very, very good. You reject from here, obviously bad, but hopefully you're able to build up to here. Right, if you're able to see that get higher, really make a new high here, then that'll kind of suggest like, yes, we are going to this type of level. It'll be a little breakout there, 1750. Then you see that curl down to retest. Then this is the actual big move, I think. I actually think the big move is here. So this is a good move. And then this will be potentially a great move to go test in this block. And because this block is so extended, right? It's pretty big. Right? Pretty big. So I think you'll see a pretty good reaction there towards like 1880, maybe even higher, right? This is where you could go higher and go to 20. So it just depends on the strength over time, but very, very good. I think the structure looks nice. As far as the 2 hour says, did that give you a hint down here? It did. Just very, very wonky look to it. So very rough one. At a key level, so what should we be watching for? Like right over here, we can see, okay, we're down to these type of levels. So what should we be watching for across towards that $20 if the daily scale starts to roll from there? So $20, I would mark off $20 and be like, hey, if we get there, just know that the risk is still available. Right there. And look at that. Once we zoom out on it, what do we see? We see support. Okay, pretty awesome. We see the breakthrough. We see resistance, resistance, resistance. Awesome. So $20, very important. We go up to here. We see a big move. People get all excited, and then it curls down. We'll look for higher lows and things like that at that point. But for the time being, if you just see a daily move like this and it crosses down, it's very likely to go revisit the lows for at least a test. If the test is going to fail, you'll probably see something like a little lip on the end. And see that head down. Very nice. I put the same, but I drew a box around 20. I think a box is perfectly fine in that area. 20, very easy level to mark off there. So good catch, though. Very good. Very good, Justin. Yeah, that looks like the key level to me is 20. And so the reason I just only marked off 20 is I'm like, well, if they're going to show a big move here that gets people excited, it's going to have to be decent. $18, yeah, that's pretty good. $20 gets people to go insane. Baba looks like it's gearing up for that move up. Watch out for a little trap. But other than that, I mean, if the daily rotates down, that's not good. Here we go. 562 getting tested a few times here. Yeah, we could go into shorter time frames here and just see how positive this really is. Peaking over at extended isn't a bad thing. But you'll notice what? From that, we're testing the high from last night. Not bad. Higher low overall. So this is good. This is how we extend to 565. If this can break out, we potentially want to see something like this, just a little dink in here to go higher. And then from here, we might see that wipeout kind of moment. And notice how that would happen before, in the next hour or so. So maybe I'm off with the timing just a little bit. But it's very nice. I have to reload for manufacturing data. Manufacturing data still coming in below the previous, not good. A little bit higher than the forecast and the consensus. Not bad. I don't think it's like awful. I think what's really bad is you would say the fact that you have, you would potentially say jobless claims increasing and you have a weaker GDP, right? That's not really adding up to things are going to just be peachy forever, right? If you're lucky here on the day trader side, you get a divergence here. Maybe we even see this now. Then we sell off. No. Yeah, I think it's too. At this point, it's kind of take your money and run. I don't know if playing Apple and playing Amazon is like the best thing to do. I mean, I think they'll be good, but you're at a risky spot. So I think sitting on my hands, best thing for me now. Had my 2 fun plays. They both worked out, so I got to be appreciative of it. Thank you so much for the 250 again, by the way, Justin. So that's just kind of the first blow off top, life-changing opportunity. Yeah, and that blow off top, based on how things clear up, I think there's risk in the fall of this year, but for me right now, I'm kind of looking at that March of 2026 because we're taking our time with this correction. So that means we could see a pretty decent initial push, possibly going into summer. See something that freaks people out for a moment, and then I think you see that blow off top kind of squeeze, probably going into the fall. And then we see what happens after that. We got to take it in stride. So right now we're just like, okay, what's right now? Right now is, do we base out here? Do we need to retest those lows? That's what we're trying to figure out with this. Well, I think it would maybe be the other way around, Rajiv. I think it would maybe be the other way around. They just show good numbers. People finally get like hard data that is good news, right? People like that good news and they're sick of talk. So I think it could be the opposite. But that, are either one of us right? Who the hell knows, We have no idea what they're going to say, but I guarantee it's kind of hard for me to be like, oh yeah, Apple's going to say good things. Yeah, Apple's going to come out and say, hey, now the iPhone's cheaper. Like, I just don't think that that's going to be a thing. iPhone and iPad, most important things, and both of those are going to get more expensive. The only thing Apple has in the United States that won't get more expensive, and they need to transition this. If they announce this, that'd be good. A transition. They have a plant in Texas, a factory in Texas, but all it does is work on like specific computers, like one set of computers. So they need to say, hey, we're going to produce iPhones and iPads with that facility. That would be a good start. That's a good thing they could say. But overall, right now, it's like if someone would just go up, if someone during the call asked a question, right, and someone just said, how expensive would tariffs make the iPhone? He'd probably say about $2,200. He'd probably say about $2,200. But is he going to say that? Probably not. Is he going to say that? No. Why? Well, what CEO wants to give you blatant awful news that'll plummet their stock, usually it's like they have to talk about it or it's not going to be our fault, so I talk about it. So if he wants to say, hey, the tariffs aren't going to be our fault, but they're going to hurt us, you still want to see if people ignore that until the weekend. Puts their calls on Wolf. I mean, I'm not doing either one. I already made money off Wolf. I bought Wolf for like, I bought 10 contracts for Wolf like a month ago for 2 months, just because I was like, it's really, really low, fun account, let's do this. Hey, it made money, so I mean, granted, it was not life changing in any way. It was 10 contracts on a on like what a $10 contract, I think. So it wasn't that much. Let's put it that way. Or 10 contracts on a 10-cent contract. 10-cent contract. Sorry. It literally was. It was good though. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was good. But that's all. Looking back on that, I'm just like, I mean, it's a luck. That's why I'm gonna take my money and run. Can you look at PayPal? Yeah, we can look at PayPal. We'll see if that thing drags out higher. PYPL PayPal, which we have a donation link for PayPal down in the description. We see here PayPal. Good earnings first. Second, rejecting directly off the bottom of this block. Only able to get to here. What we really want to see is that test in the middle here. So probably, where's that wick? Where's this guy? Probably like right here, $70. $70 is what you need to get above, peak above, to really have a chance to go to 71.70. And if you get to 71.70 or you break out, that'd be fantastic. You're looking like a higher low can shape up, like daily time frame. What would be the reason for a higher low? Well, you actually have divergence behind this one. So if it can see that extension, just an explosion here, and then curl down to retest, then go higher, that would be fantastic. That's how you get back up to 76.43. Is this COVID lows too? Holy crap. You're getting a better price than COVID at the moment. Oh, very good, very good. Retested into here too, not bad. Retest of the lows, went well so far. I mean, I would say that's a pretty damn cheap price. No dividend. But yeah, I think as far as investment goes, I think there's still opportunities out there for the long haul. We're pretty optimistic in our markets. So even if we went through something garbage and terrible and awful, hey, it might just be opportunities. Right? The last ones to crash are the big dogs. You know that, right? Which is funny when you look at Tesla and it's down 60%. But the last ones to crash are the ones that hold you up the longest, the biggest names. So what are you really looking for in a blow off top? Well, you're probably not going to see everything get to new all-time highs unless you see that everything blow off top. Holy crap. But you're probably looking for Nvidia maybe to make a new high. Obviously, the spine of the keys, good indication. Meta, Amazon, Apple, those ones. Tesla, if you're lucky, that thing is crazy. I'm never going to, put it past it. But Tesla, I think, down pretty damn deep. So we'll see. I'm pretty monotone today. My baby girl took all the happiness out of my soul yesterday. No, I just used up a lot of energy. So guys, for this week, I'm still having to help out around here. So for this week, we still won't be having live shows at the end of the day, actually. But going on into next week, because I see things being very crazy, we are going to do a live show in the morning, and we're going to do a live show for Power Hour, but both of those are going to take place on YouTube where everyone can, we can all get together, okay? So we will have the live show still. You just won't have to change platforms for the next month or so. You can just stick with YouTube. YouTube's where we're going to be for this entire month, and then we'll switch it back to Rumble at the end of it, most likely. We will be switching it back to Rumble. It's just with the times we're in right now, I think we want to be getting people who aren't willing to switch over for the time being. And this is kind of what we're playing with. We just wanted to make a stamp on Rumble too. It hasn't been it really hasn't been performing the best. I feel like the streams keep cutting out and stuff sometimes. So we got to get them to figure their stuff out too. So it'll be a good time. Give them a month, let it refresh, and then we'll go back to it. Unless we see a good reaction from the community, we'll see. Maybe we'll go subscriber only on YouTube for the afternoons. Who knows? We'll find out. But for now, it's just going to be YouTube live in the morning, YouTube live in the afternoon. And then if we do YouTube live in the afternoon, sometimes we won't have an afternoon video. But we will be putting out a video most likely a few times throughout the week. Semis need to help the Qs more, and could happen. Semis, yeah. The thing with semis, though, is just Nvidia is running into that wall right now. I actually do like this from the 2-hour now. If we can stay like this, that'd be good. We need to extend past 114.45. But the problem with these is just you look at this and you go, oh, earnings is pretty far off. So, I mean, that would kind of tell me hey, if we see all of this and then we get that retest and it goes well, I think Nvidia sees a good earnings then. Or we get some good news before that and Nvidia causes a pullback, but for the time being, the timing would line up. Look at that, 562, getting to 563. Very, very nice. Are you getting to 563? You're almost there. So we leak higher to 565. We see that dumpy kind of moment. Then at the end of the day, you just see this thing start to curl back up. Maybe it's quick too. It could be pretty fast. That's why I'm like, I'm not going to trade this. It's too tight for me. I don't want to do a day trade. Wrench for a hammer. Thanks for coming in today. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, Justin, I need an energy boost today. We're gonna have to go to the gym, get these legs cranking, you know? Or Tesla. S&P back to 6,000 soon. I think it'll end up there, probably in the summer, but I think that would be maybe mid to late summer. But you never know, right, Frederick? Can be crazy. We have when you back out on the pitch, you always talk about, bro, I miss it so much. I miss it so much, but I got to do all my rehab for the summer. I'm hopefully joining a little Mexican league here. It's literally what it's called here, by the way. And it's like the most fun league because it's like just dangerous. It's so fun though. I always join the team and everyone speaks to me in Spanish. I'm like, no hablo. No hablo español, no mucho. And I need to. My daughter knows more than I do. I'm wondering if Amazon and Apple lift us up or not. So if we reject 565, 487, 48, not sure if we gap up tomorrow on Friday as well. We need to see rate cuts before Tesla can run. Bitcoin about to boom. I kind of agree with the Bitcoin thing. I think Bitcoin's going to, I think it was 98.5. I think it was 98.5. Maybe 100K. All right, you look at the daily scale. You want to see this test. Yeah, anywhere in here. You start to see rejection. Is it really, really a terrible thing? Or are you probably just going to reject and then retest what? Probably down in here. You're probably retesting in here. You just see something like boom, boom, and then we see if it can come back. That'd be nice. Do the fibs, do the fibs, do the fibs. Oh, is there a golden pocket right here or something? ¿Qué pasa? Everyone, although, well, I'm sure, you know, some of you guys probably aren't white. I'm reading the names. I'm like Jari and Abram. I'm like, okay, well, you're like me. My wife and my mother-in-law will start talking. I'll just be like, yo quiero Taco Bell. And that gets a laugh every time. It's not racist if you're married to one, I guess. Oh, they're so fun. I think it's awesome. I love the food, man. Food's the best part. The best part. All right, we got like 15 more minutes here. I mean, we can go back into these shorter term ones. We can see a little 5 minutes something here. What turned us around last time? A bunch of 5-minute divergence, one extra lip on it. What's going to turn us down this time? Well, we probably have to remake those. So even if you get something like this, you can just still extend, right? It doesn't have to play out perfectly like all this. Doesn't even have to go down here, right? We can just keep going, then see something up here. Ricardo. SPY gap test. I think it's coming this week. Yeah, I think you'll test. I think you'll test 565 pretty much no matter what. Here, where's the actual gap fill though? Close right around 564.66. So I think 565 makes a lot of sense here, at least, if not 567. So 565, 567 look like great levels for now. We could probably look at options for Friday as well. I don't think these, actually, I don't think this would really even help that much because earnings. That's good to see where the key level is. Looks like 600s. If we get 600 from this, the game is different, okay? 600 is the bigger level to pay attention to, I guess. But 560 is the other one, and we're through that. So paying attention to for tomorrow, you got little ones at 565 and 570, but all the way to 600. You get to 600, the game is different here. You're really unlikely to revisit those lows. It's going to take a lot of time. If you see this just surge up into these type of areas, 600, well, that would tell you for the month you're outside of that move. So that'd tell you like 68% chance to do that, which makes total sense, right? Which means what? We're probably going to revisit down in here. We're probably going to see that right shoulder that could have been. I think you're way more likely to see like just some kind of uptick here, and then we reject. We start to fall down next week. And then we see if we can hold up here or here. I think we're going to need to retest these lows. At least from what I'm seeing right now. If things change, right, if we can get all the way up to here, right, it becomes a little bit less probable as we get through 562. So the fact that we're getting through 562, we can pay attention. Good sign. But there's too many gaps down there, man. Too many gaps. Come all the way down, people lose hope. Then we say, oh, okay, this is to retest if that recession is priced in. Maybe with all the forward guidance type stuff that these guys talk about. If they talk about anything bad, it's just ignored until the weekend. Then we go down and test those lows and we go, hey, was everything that earnings just said, was that priced in? Oh, it was? Okay, cool. Let's go higher. And then you know who would absolutely be torn apart by that? Retail. Retail sees those lows tested again. You're going to see every YouTuber saying the market is done. This is over. Trump just said this. We're crashing. That's all you're going to see, which can happen. But it's more likely to just be like, all right, all right. What would be the more likely thing, guys? If in the first 2 weeks of May, we see something like this, what is the most likely thing to happen? This. So, and if we revisit these levels again, hey, we have the second standard deviation. If everyone says yes in the chat right now, I'll give it to you. Do you want the second standard deviation for the upside and downside? I'll give it to you right now. Gotta see some yeses in there. All right, Steve, we'll give it to you guys. Patreon members, you should already have this. But the monthly second standard deviation for, let's see here. Let's do yellow, thick, maybe not that thick. We'll do like a 2. Make that shit dashed. And the bottom side level for you for the SPY 480.04. 480.04. Oh, wow. Interesting. Crazy. All right. We'll see if we get there. To the upside, 629. 629.04. Wow. What a move. That'd be crazy. There you go. So 480.04, that's the main one. I would have that one on my radar for sure. But just note, you only get to this 5% of the time. And it's on a monthly scale, and you already saw it last month. So to see it back to back, I mean, you would say in crazy times is when you're going to see it. So you can see them back to back. But most of the time, you're not getting there. Most of the time, you need to pay attention for reversal signals actually here and here, right? On the monthly scale, here and here. Look for those. It's more of a time where it just goes, hey, if this is going down to here, I need to understand that shorting might be a little bit more difficult. And then it's going to start to possibly turn around. So I'm more looking for bullish trades here, bearish trades here. At least some kind of fade move to retest into this again would be what I'm looking for in these type of areas. So very, very good though. Now you have the levels. Patreon members, you should already have it for everything else. Maybe we'll give the Qs next week. Dump spine, destroyed dreams. Well, you would be looking for the next resistance points, right? So why is everyone talking about this here? Well, because you broke through all this. And then you even use it as support again. So fantastic. And you were able to do good things in the block to get higher. So now you're paying attention to what? Gap fills, 565. And then you're also paying attention to that wick at 567. You know, pretty much anywhere in this block you can run into problems, but it's, you know, however high we can get, it starts to help us out more and more and where we're going to possibly pull back to. So 565, 562, I would say 562 to 567, rough spot. More probable to still go revisit at least down to something like, I would even say 500. Cut that low a little bit. Maybe even lower, right? Possibly even 480, depending on what we get. If you get above that, if we just peek our head above that, I think you're really leaning towards like, hey, let's just see if we can hold up a little bit better. Maybe we just come down to here, fill the gap, right? Maybe hold up a little better. I just think retesting lower levels is going to be very necessary here from the daily charts perspective. It just really looks like some kind of daily high or low, some kind of daily divergence is going to be very necessary for direction. And we're surging based on just earnings. So I wouldn't expect it to last. They're already selling lots of iceberg sells all morning. Really open group. Interesting. You know, I really saw this extending, but I thought we would, you know, if we don't get that dip into this zone today and we just keep extending and people, you know, almost front run too much, that can be a big issue. Everybody yelling GME is going to blast off. That's not a good sign. The time where GME blasted off, no one was yelling that. Everyone just woke up and was like, holy sh. Is Patreon Discord or TradingView? Patreon is just Patreon. It's its own little platform where I post things. Like yesterday, we posted, we were looking for this kind of thing to happen. Instead, you got a little double bottom right here, and then you took back that center. So it's very, very nice. Yeah, we discussed that in the video last night too. We're more just going in depth because, you know, I just eyeball things, but, you know, people want to really learn about it. The dotted line is very good, just a center line into blocks and things like that. Are you selling lots of iceberg sales? But is it rotation, Oakland? Because you have a staggered earnings. You have staggered earnings. So is it rotation now? Like, will Meta and Microsoft start to fade the move in some way? While Apple and Amazon already benefiting, so that's in a rough spot actually, right? It could break through this now though, go to higher levels. But for the time being, it's like, is this rotation in some way? And we haven't even seen IWM. There we go. IWM starting to pop a little bit here, making a new high. That's a good. Look at that. That's the time where you violate all these divergences during that squeeze-like moment. Okay, now we violate everything, and we just go, okay, now we're going to use this red zone potentially as support, especially if we can break through. Boom, boom, boom. That would be fantastic. Oh. Oh, Ari, it's almost nap time, girl. Get there. You can do it. I believe. Nice, it's extending. Well, Kramer just said he doesn't want to own GME anymore, so that makes me super bullish. I'm not saying it's not in a good spot. It is in a good spot. It's just a risky spot to be. That's all. Now we're heading down to 530 overnight, and then something is coming this weekend that is going to take us even lower. Don't know what it is, but something will take us. See, that's what I was, okay. So last night's video was just like, be cautious of the weekend. If we're going up like this with earnings, it's a risky thing. We can see a major fade. But going down to 530 overnight, that doesn't sound correct. 530 overnight. Maybe 545. Maybe 545. 530 overnight. I don't know about that. But it's the two risky earnings, right? It's the two risky ones. Apple, Amazon. Apple, tariffs. Amazon, tariffs. Your tariff exposure for Apple and Amazon is very high. That's why I did not try to roll up my short calls at 531 and 538. SPY rolled out between 1 to 2 weeks. I mean, something that I was thinking was once we get through this weekly expected move, just shorting for a month with a small amount. You know, down towards like 535, 545. But I want to see, you know, excitement. If they're going to do the thing is, if they send this thing lower Friday morning, like lower, like you guys are suggesting, retail's going to have shorts. You're not going to get that super bad news right away over the weekend, most likely. You're probably going to see a bounce on Monday and then see it turn down again on Tuesday. That's how I see it, like psychologically. 532 to 88 is my specific number, then bounce to 545 before going lower. 532. 532. 532, what was it? 88? Yeah, I guess you could say like chop this for a second, show that low again through here, and then once it wicks up, people think it's coming back, then you use this zone as resistance again around 545. So you're gonna have to lose this zone again. Then you see it bounce up. Then you see this come back down. That's how you get down to potentially here, gap fills. And then at that point, if you're rejecting, it depends here where we reject from, but the probabilities would be anything below 567, you still need to be paying attention to here pretty heavily. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's just a big drop on Friday would do what? It would be like, okay, big drop on Friday. Okay, well then retail's going to have puts. So you're probably going to see bounce on Monday, that rejection of 545 if this is all going to happen. But this is all speculative. I think it's more likely to see good, feel good, and then trap over the weekend. So I think it's more likely we go like, and then Friday, right? This would add up to Friday, right? I think you're more likely to see something like that. But that's just me. All right, that's the psychology reading into it at this moment. Major power outages have been occurring, not updates on causes. I am watching for additional outages and possible attacks. Why are there outages? Yeah, wait, where are these power outages? I heard Africa was having some seriously bad power outages. Was it? But I don't know if it was here. Maybe let me know if it was here. Maybe I'm just not paying attention too much to it, but Dad said he'd help with the crib. We got a new crib. Got to put that bad boy together. Well, at the end of the day, since this looks algorithmic, we're looking at it like it's a liquidity grab. That's why we're paying attention to where it rejects from so seriously. Right, Jagger? Power outage in Spain, possibly. VIX and the SPY trending up. Yes, volatility can increase as the SPY increases. Volatility goes in both ways. If you see a sporadic move up, that's pretty volatile. You can see volatility come up as well. What does that mean overall? That means while the market is going up, you're seeing people actually, you know, potentially not go further into calls a month out, which means what? They might be starting to get a little bearishness in their mind. Spain, Portugal, and others. Power was out here in central Ohio in a number of areas all day. This has never happened without a storm. That's kind of wild. Your point of control is 565 to the dot. Shit. More things at that 562 to 567 zone. I was looking up GME purchases of Bitcoin or crypto, cannot find. They have not submitted a purchase of Bitcoin or any kind of crypto yet. They have said that they are going to. The amount that they were putting towards it, the only thing that you know is the maximum amount potential that they've discussed that they have bought in, say, Bitcoin is 1.4 billion. That is the maximum. They said they can use up to that amount, not that full amount. That's the last time I read into it. They still have all that cash on hand, so they obviously could do more than that, but that is what you got. They did that sale or whatever thing, and they said, okay, we have 1.4 billion now extra, and that we are going to utilize for crypto purchasing and other business functions. So the only thing you know is the thing that they told you, which is 1.4 billion is like the maximum amount they could have bought, but they also said they would use that for other things as well. So you pretty much are still in the dark. You know that they're purchasing it, but you're still in the dark. Okay, turning down from here would be perfect. This would be the perfect time to do it. I'll try to stay on another 29 minutes. I want to see this. Yeah, 2 hour was able to exceed, so this most likely takes time. I don't know about dump on Friday, Oakland. I think you see maybe extension first. Some kind of extension. Some kind of extension would be very, very good to hint, but, you know, anything can happen. It's earnings time. Palantir poised for a pullback as well. Palantir definitely, yeah. It's just 2 hour though, right? Oh, look at this. This is your this. Okay. All right, Palantir. All right, Palantir, buddy. You might be. Palantir needs to revisit here. That is a 30-point drop. Palantir needs to revisit here. That's 21%. Let me look at monthly moves for Palantir now. That's just that might be a gift for me. Palantir. Okay. Okay, it looks like Palantir right around 100 would be good. Let me look how expensive it is. I'm nervous though, because Palantir is a monster sometimes, but man, you're seeing some crazy moves. What is it on the? Oh, that was a weekly. Sorry, let me look at the monthly. The monthly says, oh yeah, monthly says watch for potential gap fill. Oh, the IV is still high on those though. Correct. Look at IV here. Yeah, IV still at 85, so for me, not worth the play. IV too high. It means I can see the crazy move, but I can see it in both directions, which means it can take its damn time. And a little bounce like this can just ruin a trade. Or even if it goes like this and you continue to be short and then it just bounces into like the end of the month or something, like that's just rough. I think it looks good. I mean, as far as risk to reward goes, looks pretty good. IV is a little high. I'd like to see it more unexpected. It seems expected for something bad to happen here, which means it's not that you can make money off it. It's just more so for me. I'm like, I like it when people don't expect it. You make better money that way. I like to wait till they don't expect it. We agree, Sid, but pull back before this. Palantir will go higher on earnings. I think Palantir will go higher. It's 2 hours way too positive. I think all of that could be a pullback. Isn't that wild? I want to take a deep breath. Yeah, take a breath. I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, this looks like a retest in some way. Look, it had algorithmic move to it, so it looks like a retest. Gotta love MW patterns. No put Friday, but I'm going to stack on options over the weekend if the extension in the M form. Yeah, I think that's what I'm kind of looking at. I don't see a big drop on Friday, but hey, if the big drop comes on Friday, you know what you're probably looking for is you're probably looking for like if we close up here and then we, you know, say we do whatever down here, we do this, and then by the end of the day, Friday, we start seeing a tank. Well, this will be important. It'll actually be important to see, do we get to the bottom of that and then maybe see a bounce and reject somewhere around this area? And then we roll that down to 535 next week. And then we get new updated weekly expected moves. You shut the hell up, Richard. I ain't looking at a 1 minute chart. 1 minute chart, sometimes I'll just like keep one up for fun, but I'm never like taking it seriously. We're gonna have to use this zone as rejection again, though. I mean, best case, if this happens on Friday, like, is you just see a massive move down, like Oakland Group is suggesting, and then on Monday, Tuesday, you go up to here, and then it traps you kind of Monday late, and then Tuesday you fall back down to a weekly expected move, and that weekly expected move has to be pretty deep at that point, and then you're looking for some kind of 2 hour relief probably at that point. For real, just real quick. 1 minute chart for Richard. Wow. Once again, looks like you would say bull, 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 bull. In this type of scenario, I'm looking at this like squeeze, 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 which means algorithms could be involved. Oh, Apple? Jesus. This is toxic. I mean, there is rhyme and reason to this, right? But maybe not right now. This looks like front run earnings. Yeah, it looks like front run earnings. And now you're like, okay, if we reject here, we're going to get like a 15 minute pullback probably. If the 30-minute crosses down, then congratulations, Apple probably has to have a surprise. And if you do go up and you see this thing and it goes up and they say bad things in the guidance and people ignore that, I'd pay attention. I think what you're looking for here is good numbers, bad guidance. A lot of companies potentially say no guidance as well, which is also a bad sign. If you're getting no guidance, that's probably the smartest thing as a business to say, but as an investor, you kind of put together the blocks there. Sorry, further out that we go to 532, closer to the 8th, 542.50 overnight. Then rebound to 549.75 Friday, 542, just above this. Does that mean we do this? Right, that's the roll scenario then. That's the roll scenario. Yeah, so Oakland's paying attention to the roll scenario then, not necessarily the trap high scenario, more the roll scenario. Yeah, it's going to be good again. It's not. We'll pay attention on Friday. Get those daily expected moves up. Those can help us out. If you're going to see 542 though, 542.50 down here, you would potentially want to close today at the gap fill, which always leads you to believe like, hey, you're at that gap fill, good reaction to earnings, bad later. Then next week we see that curl up. Then we head down to this type of level. Guess what? That lines up about to your 7th or 8th. So yeah, it's got a good time with it, Oakland Group. It's got a good time with it. Like timing of things looks very nice there. It leads to a bounce before what? Before AMC earnings, we get a bounce. GME breaks down on Friday, then gets a bounce to retest that upward block, breaks down again. I don't know, maybe GME is the easy short here. We'll have to see. So the bigger drop would be mid-month. Or the bigger drop would be second week. Like after that Friday, the 9th. I have to look further at the timing. We'll see. FOMC next week. MSTR breaking out good with Bitcoin. Bitcoin needs to get to at least 98, 98.5, if not 100K. Still anything rejecting off of 100K is still bad. I think Bitcoin holds up better than the market though. Apple pumping, it seems like very front run then. So if you see higher prices for Apple, and you see higher prices tomorrow, watch for the fade. I would say whatever price it gets to on Friday, the high, it's gonna fade from that level and probably fade next week and fill the gap right away. The thing for me is we don't see reversal here yet. We don't see reversal on the 2-hour yet. So if you're going to convince me this has to go past this level like right away next week, we have to see some bad things here, or we have to see this 2-hour go negative, right? Be able to go way down. Maybe even cross back up and give you a lower high. Lower high. Very nice, though. Have a hate-love relationship. But if Bitcoin RSI is over 80 on the daily, why are we going up? What? What time frame? Oh, on the daily, duh. My bad. It's over 8. Why are you going up? This is when you see the crazier moves. Once you're overbought and you keep that positivity, that's where you see crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. That's why it's not like, some people just sell at overbought if they're good at catching these type of things like daily divergence, right? Daily divergence, you caught that, 85, and you're up here going up towards, 98.3K or going up towards 100K. You're just going, okay, that's enough for me. But like to say, oh, we just crossed this. I'm going to show you something real quick. Look at Bitcoin. Yeah, you just cross it. Hey, guess what? You miss out on potentially even half the move. Look at this. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Right? I'm not saying it's a good buy right now. I think your 4 hour was probably your at least semi-hint there. Like, hey, there you go. Here's how you get to 100K. Or at least 98.3. But, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It can be overbought for a long time. Okay, well... See, now that Oakland Group has me thinking. Because Apple is running a little. I think it needs to run more than this, though. Yeah, I think you're going to run better than that. If you're going to see a super front run, then 217.50, you hit there, then there's a chance for a trap. That's how I'm seeing it, though. Screenshots of what you see on Apple, okay. I see baby girl's still awake, so I'll try to hang out with you guys a little longer. Jesus. 5-day, 5-day, 5-day grind, grind, grind. Man. We'll see. Are we in a bull market? No. If anyone's calling all-time highs yet, they do not know. If anyone's calling a test of that low yet, you don't know. The test of the absolute low, you don't know that either. You just don't know. Right? There's only so much into the future you can read. But you can say, if we reject below 567, then I will be paying attention to here and here. We don't have to get to there. I'm still going to look for a reversal signal here. If it shows me it here. But if it shows me it at the key levels, that would be even better. I have more information right here. If it shows me it down here and we're able to base out, okay, we're able to make that W down here in some way, that would be fantastic. Why? Because now you'll have set daily divergence. If you have set daily divergence down there and that confirms and then is able to go positive, what does that mean? That means really high likelihood of going to an all-time high. So there's two ways to tell if we're going to go to an all-time high right now, I think. And you can't tell until you see more price action. Two ways to tell. Boom, recession scares again. I think this is the more probable one. We're going to see, I think we're going to see at least this yellow line. At some point, that can take a lot of time, right? That can be end of May. I think it might be sooner than that, but we'll see. So how do you tell? Well, if we do this or this, well, you're going to all-time highs. There's two. The way you hold up better and go to all-time highs is you keep that structure, and you got to see great freaking tariff news in the next, week or 2 weeks. This would be the bullish, the better way to head higher, I think, right? The less scary way. So am I really thinking the less scary way is how we head higher? No, I think the more scary way is how we head higher. And then we have to see if we're rolling down there, because if we roll down there and you fail that signal, bad. If you bounce from there and you see those divergences confirm and then they just roll over, they just dead cat bounce that thing, oof. You fail a daily divergence, all of that momentum that the daily divergence was gearing up for goes in the opposite direction if you fail it. I've not been able to watch live recently, been working a lot. Hey, working a lot's great, right, Nick? I invest a lot in the chip stocks. What's your things on Soxol? Well, Soxol, once again, I always say this with Soxol, it's 3x leverage. So if I'm going to do analysis, just in case there's any kind of decay, just look at SOX, right? Look at SOX, and then see if you're doing the things you need to do, right? First thing is probably look at the daily chart. Sorry for clicking on a 1 minute. Look at the daily chart. What are we talking about? We're testing into here, right? So if I'm not able to get to here, and even if I am able to, if I'm not able to really exceed that, then I need to understand that this can go bam, or at least do that. Do that, right? What we need to see here from SOX will be the daily higher low. Now, a lot of people would call this a daily higher low. I don't consider that a daily higher low. I consider that maybe a 2 or a 4 hour. A daily higher low would be, we fail, then we turn down to here, then we see that carve it out. We go positive for a couple of days, we turn down, we turn up. Right? As far as it stands, you're not even you're just now getting back into that zone for SOX. So Soxol most likely will end up going up to here, I think. But it's just, does it do it this way? Or does it do it this way? Right? And because we're rejecting, so if we reject lower, you still got to pay attention to this. The retest here. Do we need to go lower? That's what I think algorithms are doing here. Right? This is very bear market-like behavior here, which means what? Bear markets like to do what? They like to test the low. They like to shake out that low. They like to cut it a little bit even. So if this would happen, you have daily divergence and that confirms, that's great. If that confirms and then rolls before we're able to exceed these levels and we break, hey, guess what? All the momentum you built up on the daily side here gets distributed which direction? Down. So as of this very moment, if I wasn't in this on the 2 hour curl up right here, which, do I have a 9 up right now? Where's my 9? I don't have this curl up right here, which I do, so that's great. This means, hey, it's taking it back. You wanted to wait for full follow through. Okay, well, we get follow through right in here. This is a positive bar. It's just red. You get a little 5-minute pullback and you go to the upside. And where do you go? You go right into the resistance. You break through it, just barely break through it, giving you a hint of, hey, let's at least try to get to 535.50-ish. And then how high you can get here will dictate a lot going forward. Doesn't mean we have to reverse right away, right? If you reverse right away, like say in the next trading session, that would overall be bad, right? We see an extension up to here. We start to fade that. We curl down. All right, you have some things leaning towards pullbacks or even losing the 5, which isn't a good thing. But as it stands right here, yeah, it's a breakout kind of moment, and a lot of people will celebrate that, and I think it does see a little bit higher. But I think there's too much risk here for me to be like, oh yeah, I want to take this play right now. I don't have a lot of room. I like to have a lot of room. Try to find like an example here. Yeah, so like almost like here. At this stage, if I'm not seeing a move like this, that then curls back up to take back that 5, there's no real good swing. But notice this, it came back below the center line and crossed back above it. It came back down to the center line and crossed back above it. It makes it so I have that room. Right now, I don't have room. Now, this can be a crazy move to the upside and I can miss out, but does that matter? Does that matter? No, it's not how I do things. It doesn't matter if something goes up or down. It matters if it gave me the opportunity based on my skills. Right? I don't have to take every play that I think will go up or looks like it will go up. Yeah. I think it looks good. I think overall, SOX needs to get into this area, and I think SOX needs to get to like, I would even go as far to say like 4,500. I think 4,500 would be great. And then you could potentially just fill these gaps and turn to the upside and everything's dandy again. As it stands, looks like the SPY is heading to 564 almost. Let's see if it got there. 564.06, very nice. We wanted to look at the shorter time frames for the last 9 minutes I'm here right now. It looks like this 5 minute is squeezing. This is squeezing on the 5 minute. That's for sure. PCC, people aren't really trying to short, mainly just sitting on that neutral to call side. Okay, so calls for the time being. We'll see if that changes. Nvidia just saw a nice pop. Good, it got above there. Nice. Very, very nice. This is what you need from Nvidia. Now you need to use that as support and not get any bad news. You start to get bad news here, it's going to be rough. You don't get a close above this, it might be rough. So maybe Oakland Group has a point to make. I think maybe too risky for decisions this early. Well, if you say it's coming tonight, then that would have to be earnings. And that would mean that most likely what post-market you see upside and then we have bad guidance. I think the scenario psychologically you'll see is good numbers, and then people will be pissed because the stocks are fading or going down. I think guidance would be the thing, especially when you're talking about Amazon and Apple. Guidance. Right? Bad numbers for Tesla, good guidance because he said, you know, whatever. And people eat that shit up. So now you're going to see the bad news eaten up, most likely, over the next few trading sessions. You still need to see if we've really priced in everything. Because now you're going to get new information. Guidance can be new information, and we want to go test if that is priced in, which means we're going to go see if the buyers are at those gaps. Was responding to daily, but yes, earnings and or guidance are going to pull Apple and or Amazon down, and the market will follow. Yeah, that means Q's probably at some risk because it's all in the tech sector for those. So maybe we need to look at the Q's for a moment here. Heading up to that move. Getting up to a great level. I'm not going to lie. Getting up to a great level. I really think the Qs are better off just filling this gap at around 432.69. Maybe you sweep it just barely. We'll see how it forms over time. But man, you know, you extend this out, you're just going, man, that 2 hours getting pretty overzealous. We'll see. Yeah, Richard, and that point is why I'm not going to be like, I'm not necessarily going to like short much. I'm just going to see how this plays out, maybe wait for the lower high. Yeah, Palantir selling off. Palantir selling off makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. I think Palantir in the month easily can come down and fill this gap. It could come down and fill this one, to be totally honest. It's easy for it. We'll mark this off maybe. Let's just mark off this zone. Let's see how we react around these type of levels. Let's include the whole thing. We might even reach below it to fill gap real quick. There you go. Fill gap here on the wick. I include that just in case we like wick out of this for a moment. See how we break down over time. Wick down. Maybe we'll see if something's here at this point towards the Monday, May 19th, May 20th for Tuesday. That's how if it's going to break down, it's probably going to be pretty quick. That is pretty quick, by the way. Taking almost the entire month to go down to those prices is pretty quick. And then we get good news. You better pray we get good news. Has nothing to do with it, Richard. It's charting, not hoping, emotions. This is a pretty obvious, like, Palantir's a pretty obvious, like, don't go long here. So what would that mean? If it's X, if X is very obvious, then not X should be obvious, right? If we're talking about statistics and probabilities, you have X and not X. Well, if X is very obvious that buying here is not a good thing, and I'm an investor and buying here is not a good thing, and that's pretty obvious, then me selling my shares here would also be very obvious, right? X, if you know what X is, then you know what not X is. Well, that's why I'm suggesting, Jack Cats, that we could see good numbers still from them as the price hasn't done anything really. Like, not the price of the stock, but the price of their goods most likely hasn't changed much. Um, but as far as guidance goes, you can't tell me they're going to say a good thing about anything that actually matters. They could say nothing about it. X equals American Steel. The X-Men. Yeah. AVGO. AVGO did really, really well here. Very good. We'll see if that's able to hold up. Still some gaps. Yeah, still looking at 165.89 though. Just looking at this kind of like its own zone. We'll just look at this like a zone kind of between here, kind of like a range. Their meaningful guidance is moving production from China to India. Yeah, and there's still no solidified deals there. Like, that is some supplemental good news. Oh no, we are walking up, man. If we close the day at a high, I'm kind of worried. Not on later today. We won't be having the live show at the end of the stream for the next three. Today and tomorrow, we won't have it. Next week, we're going to be doing the live stream in the afternoon over on YouTube because I think we're about to go into something crazy. So I'm glad Oakland Group came in today, actually. I don't think we've seen you for a little bit. But you gave me some second opinion that kind of voices a lot of my concerns. The timing of it is what I was struggling with. Still rumbling at the close. We normally will be. I just have a lot going on here. We're trying to switch some things up with baby girl. So I have really been stressed for time. You can probably hear in my monotone voice today that people pointed out. So I want to make sure to bring the energy for you guys. And so a couple days without those, and then we'll do it on YouTube to really gear up for a big week. I think that'd be good. Sorry, brother, all over the place. Hey, that's all right, Open Group. You came back with your nice suit and bow tie, right? Yeah, I'm not hating on you whatsoever for doing what you got to do, buddy. I'm just glad you came in today because a lot of my thoughts and concerns are there, and then I get someone that just gives me their take on it. Now, I don't know if it'll be as bloody as you suggest on Friday, but you know, it at least adds to, hey, we could run into something bad on Friday, we could run into something bad over the weekend, and I think that's the main point. It's just going, the risk is getting high here. If I gave up, I'm praying for a full-time babysitter. I feel free again. Bro, we are, and my wife, we kind of had some things, she had some things planned out yesterday that I forgot about, or maybe was told last minute so that she could go do them. But either way, it's good for her to go do some stuff and hang out and get a nice fresh tat. That's always fun. She saved up for a while, like she really does. When she buys something like that, she likes to do it for herself. So it's very cool. But yeah, I had to take on all those duties, and I was just like, damn, we really do like take care of her, our daughter. So I tried to put some ideas out on Patreon, at least one, and it actually held up better, right? We posted this type of idea, right? That's how it builds back. It ended up doing this, then using it as support. So it was a lot tighter. 1,000 is in the options. This tattoo is cheap because her artist has worked with her. She's got good skin, so it didn't take too long. And so I think this one was like 350 with tip. So this is like the least expensive tattoo she's ever gotten, and it's like one of the bigger ones too, which is surprising. Do you think it'll pull back soon? I think you could see a 5-minute pullback here, and then there's too much risk here to. I think there's going to be too much risk now. I think there's too much risk to say, like, if it goes to here, it can't just do this. People read into Friday, and then it just starts to drop down over time. I think you still could see that. I definitely think you could see that. I'm just saying trading it is going to be rough because I think you could easily see what we were talking about earlier. We'll have to see how daily expected moves shape up in the close for today, but a lot of these moves have been front run. So I'm at least looking for something up towards these levels, some kind of weakness at these levels. What's she getting? She already got it. Like a American traditional girl. Imagine we grind into earnings, and Amazon and Apple are both tariff-based shit shows for guidance. Exactly, Lost. That's kind of what we're talking about. There you go. There's your first chink in the armor. So now you're paying attention to what? Well, we made a little block here. We'll see if we can pay attention to that. And then next, you're looking for this area right here, and we're looking for that to potentially extend one more time, maybe even by end of day. If you see this thing get wild, if you see it get wild for a second, just be aware. Any kind of reversal signal up here, I'll notify you about when we're live, if not on YouTube later. If it's really bad, I'll post it to Patreon. I just think, you know, it's been decent. Don't need to risk anything right now. Chilling. Sid. Where would we pull back to? You're looking for this in here, and then you're looking for you to get that price action confirmation back out of that. So if you come into it, you're looking for that to break back out, and that's a good chance to do this. And then I would watch out for the sell into the end of the day. And that's the only thing that I disagree, I guess, with Open Group is if we see all this and then we end up doing that by the end of the day, I think we could turn around and front run this again, set that trap tomorrow morning for the retail hour, and then we start to go down. I think potential trap in the morning. But if we just get a big gap down on news, hey, it is what it is. Yeah, I'm not taking a short on Palantir. I mean, and if you even were, you look at the implied volatility and you go, if I short this, I got to be quick with it. You got to be quick with it. One bounce, if you take like a week long option, one bounce midweek ruins that option. So you got to be quick. Look at that. Oh yeah, scalping and stuff like that. What time zone are you in? I keep missing the start. I'm in the central time zone. The start's always at the open, though, Mr. Joshua, no matter what time, whenever that market opens here in America. Here in the United States of Canada, I mean, America? The United States of America and Canada? No. Love our Canadian brothers up there. But, yeah. Right at the open, we're always live. Okay. Arizona. Hey, that's where I used to have some family. It's hot there, man. It's hot. Do you listen to the music? I feel like everyone in Arizona listens to the just sweating your balls off, dancing to some house music. The United Canadian Greenlands of America and stuff. With you forgot Gulf of Mexico laws. Get it right. Or Gulf. Oh, sorry, my bad. I got it wrong. Gulf of America. You got to get it right, okay? Oh, we're not going to make Canada another state. It's not going to happen. My butt stays in the pool. Hell yeah. Gulf of Mexico, arrest that man. You guys are great. All right, so let's see what happens here. We have no type of reversal or weakness in momentum yet. If they want to set a trap, it's probably on the second move. And then this is probably where you're more worried about the drop. And depending on how we close, 535 can be possible. Get a bounce and then see more bad news. But as it stands right now, I would say more so the extended trap. Extend the trap. Big gap up. 5 minute here. This would be how I see it playing out. And then this is where you crack that again. Right? Towards the mid to end of day Friday. And you get some people front running the sell over the weekend. That's how I see it. Obviously, it can play out in multiple different ways, but that's how I see it for the time being. It means that, you know, the decision-making area is right here. Got 563 puts. Well, then you're hoping for that extended move down to 559, or at least 560 to 561. That might be all you get. If you're lucky, it flashes down to here. I got some 550 calls. I like the I don't know. I like the I don't know guy. I don't know, man. I got calls. I don't know what's going on. Their values going, you're like, their values are going up, so we're okay. Richard, let me look at this picture. What the hell? What the hell? Well, they don't want that to go down, huh? Right, Richard? Man, they don't want that thing. What is that, AMC? What's that barcoding? VIX. If we see this today for Oakland's scenario, if we see that going into tomorrow morning, yeah, you got some risk here. Did the 2-hour cross, though? I still think we need that 2-hour to cross for a bit. Damn, we're really going to leave this gap behind, huh? We're not going to be able to do it. At least it doesn't look like it. Not enough time. Unlucky, unlucky. Hey, we're staying live a little bit longer. Yeah, we just extended this move, though. Like, unless extended hours look a lot different. I guess you have forms of divergence here for extended. But you always got to make sure you know, like, you got to extend it out. Stupid work, Embrew. I'll call in sick for you. I think I did that once for a buddy in college. I was like, dude, there's a huge party. I got to work tonight. I'm calling in. VIX originally, my assessment on VIX was 2-hour drop down further. 2-hour drop down further. All you need to do for volatility right now is hold this divergence point on the RSI. All you have to do is hold that one. So I really wanted to see this extend down and then see that reaction, which was how I thought we would get to 567. You technically have the divergence. I would just like to see it on the MACD at the same time. But the fact that you're holding every divergence and it's starting to reject here means there could be risk right now. But are you seeing what you need to see from the 30-minute? My thing would be no. I don't think you are yet. I think you could easily see the trap into the exact end of the day and see almost like this would be a trap this time. Let's just pay. This is what we're looking for potentially. That's going to take until what? Friday night to possibly form. Which means if I hit a high point at any point today and we see that reverse back down, I'll be watching volatility very closely on the 2-hour to see if we get confirmation today, right? That means that we're at the risky level. So what do we see? Risky things, right? We're at the risky level, so we see risky things. What I'm looking for is any form of weakness up here now. Oh, good old Jay Pizzle. Jay Pizzle on the mic. Raising rates out of spite. Telling Trump that I might cut rates. What a delight. The second baddest one. Let's go see if anything interesting happening over there. Yeah, but overall, guys, very bluntly, we know this is where risk starts to go up, right? No matter what happens here, we know that this is where risk is higher, even though you're potentially positive gamma now, for sure, right? You're potentially positive gamma. Yeah. Well, let's look at what probably that gamma level is right here. I don't pay too much attention to that. I just look at the 5 for direction. And then understanding price action means you know where the risk is. If we get through this and you're positive gamma now, well, then that's starting to look more like, hey, those dips will be bought, right? Buying of dips starts up again. So we're on that line. We're treading that line between like super bullish market and absolute risky market starting again. You're kind of at that line right now. So it's like, do I want to mess around with this after this pump was due to what? Earnings alone? And we got the two stocks giving earnings now, like after hours today, that are just like, hey, we can print good numbers, but in the future, we're fucked. Like, those are the two stocks, man. But Fridays like to do crazy things. What are you seeing now? Still 5-minute pullback. We're hoping that we get some kind of hint here. Trying to stay live as long as I can. I still hear baby girl up there, so we're good. They don't need me to help yet. Once she goes to sleep, we'll tackle some stuff. Four rate cuts. Yeah, 4 rate cuts were being priced in, yes. I have 4 of those. Damn. Josh putting in work over there. Josh's hips don't lie. Joshua. Spy 5 minutes seems like we are going down now. Well, yeah, you cross down. You're in positive territory, so just... This is where people think like, oh, short. In this scenario, it could probably work. You probably need to retest in that zone. That's probably what you're going to get, Laws. Yeah, Embrew, that's what I'm looking at. They're good kids. I've been blessed. Mine's just really active, and I know everyone probably says this, but I would say smart, or like at least needs to be stimulated a lot. That's probably my fault. Sorry, baby girl, you probably have ADHD. My bad. But it's a superpower. You just got to learn how to use it. Until they start to drive. Jesus, man. Good thing is, I've never even been in an accident. Everyone else in my family's totaled a car, but I'm good. My record clean as hell. And I don't drive like a little bit, no. Profit taking as soon as retail sees any weakness and as market makers target it. I think you see any kind of weakness here, and it's like, hey, don't mess around with earnings. That's what it seems. Like, it literally looks like we see weakness in any fashion. No reason. There's no reason, right? Unless you're good with position sizing and you just want to play it for fun, for funsies, try to make some money. But just I just would highly suggest, like, hey, this isn't even a big money suggestion. It's just risking money in a 50-50. It's like talking about freaking doing black or red at the casino. It literally is. It's like you could see a reaction up that fades. You could see no reaction up. You could see a reaction down that fades, and you get a bounce, and then it confirms back down again. Maybe I asked. Too many maybes, though. Too many maybes to fully be like confident. Right, Jay Pops. It's not my money. You got to have a good percentage there, though. In props, you got to get through the door, too. Right? That props make a lot of money off of just failing the test, the first initial test. They just make all their money from you retrying over and over. So you got to make sure you got some skill, some good paper trading or something first. I never had to use a prop, so that's nice. And you get payouts now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Once you pass the test and you prove you're good and you're good over time, you still get payouts. I'm doing it now. How's it going, IYC, man? Going well? So it's a hard time, too, I would say. I mean, like, if you know what you're doing, it's not terrible. It's really not. This last trade was pretty simple. It was a lot, right? You have to have a lot of knowledge of, like, how support and resistance works, but or how you behave in blocks and things like that. But for the most part, it's just like, okay, this was, straightforward to someone who's been doing it for a while. Doesn't mean I was sitting there going to go, yeah, I'm going to risk $10,000. You know, I'm not trying to make some kind of big move, big rich quick scheme. No, I'm just like, I'll play it with the fun account because I don't usually take short-term trades. And you'll see that from my short-term trades, I still take like a week out for the option, so I can get out if I need to. So glad I missed the prop firm world. It was only, yeah, sorry, prices. It's very bad for business to show you the tariff. It's very bad for business. Like Shein and them doing it, they're doing it so the quick reaction people just go, oh my god, my thing's so much more expensive. Bro, it's very bad for business to do that. It just shows people your margin. like China just showed everyone the margin. And they also showed their hand in like the only reason that they're able to undercut is because of labor, most likely. So it's not, if you're talking about Amazon and showing those prices, it's a bad business move. There's already apps being created to track it though. So whether Amazon does it or not, it's just a matter of time. Yeah, my dad kind of found something about that, I believe. Maybe it was my brother. It was over the weekend. What do I think of Enphase? They had terrible earnings recently, but I like the setup, just hesitating because of bad things. Well, sometimes earnings is an opportunity for Amazon never intended to do it on Amazon. They were going to do it on Haul, one of their subsidiaries that competes with Temu. Yeah, I kind of saw that. That was too quick to be like. Sometimes I'm also like, who talked on the phone before that? You know, oh, they weren't planning to do it. Trump makes one phone call. Okay, yeah, we weren't planning to do it, but you know, maybe I would just say I think Jeff Bezos is a smart guy. And I think he understands that showing people the tariff just shows you a lot of the margin that you make. And you usually don't want, at least from a marketing perspective, you don't want people to see your margin. But I would say this as well. If you seriously don't want people to see your margin, then you're probably doing something shady. Then you probably know that what you're doing is hurting people in the long run. Let's go look at, we can look at Enphase real quick while we're doing this little 5-minute pullback. Enphase bad earnings. You know, as it stands, is it going to be a bad earnings for a long time? I mean, as far as it stands, investment-wise, there's 2020 lows coming down in these areas. Divergence on the RSI held. You just lost a lot on the MACD here. You have a lot of turn down, so let's check a weekly. Yeah, weekly turns back up. You're going pretty good investment at that point. This is investment type levels. That's how I'd put it. I think this is investment type levels. Anywhere below this is great. Really, anything below $60 is potentially a good price. Let's mark off $60. Yeah, we'll mark off 60. Yeah, anything below 60, pretty good price. Let's just make it white. Yeah, not bad. All right, we're still rolling here. 5-minute. Still pulling down. Finally trying to potentially get into this block here. So if we're not going to make it down to here, then we're going to use this in some way. If we hold up in the top, that's better. If we hold up in the bottom, still a chance to go to that high. But once you go to the bottom side of it, you start to look for what? Failure. That's how we would potentially get back into here. You don't need it though. You're fine. Especially with interest rates where they are and more effective panels coming out in the near future. How many in the chart have solar panels? Should tell you what you need to know. Solar panels had a very bad rep, I would say, when I came out of college. Yeah, actually, right when I came out of college. I got job offers from a bunch of solar companies, but I didn't necessarily see the appeal personally at that time. I think it's still behind as far as efficiency goes, but I think it could be catching up. I was business administration, focus in marketing, but I have a business admin degree. I got to study all kinds of things that way. I don't think it was, I would say this, I don't think it was worth the cost even back then. So I can only imagine now. So I feel for you guys in college right now. Because if I didn't think it was worth it back then, it's definitely not worth it now. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. I think there are better opportunities without having to take on debt right now. Trade jobs are going to make the biggest comeback. If you really want to make good money, right, and you're really young, just go to trade school. I think it's like what, 2 years, and man, you will have job security for your entire life. Necessities are going to be a big thing now. Just wait till like 2027. Necessities will be a big thing. I can power my house functionally fully without a panel battery setup in my minimum 200K. I'll wait on the tech to get better. Thanks. Same here. Okay, good. You guys are in 32% more efficient. Yeah, you're looking for that spike though. There's always that breakthrough moment, Oakland, where it goes from like 32% efficiency to like 1 year you're going to see it double. That's when it would be worth it. My buddy, we all thought he was silly for doing it, but he became a plumber right out of high school. And you know what he does? He worked for a family-owned company. That guy got old, but he worked right by his side the whole time to where he runs the business now. It's pretty dope. Yeah, it's kind of like computers and stuff like that. Oakland Group, that's how I treat it. Waiting for that breakout moment as far as efficiency goes. But it means right now it's getting better, right? Sometimes the low is when it starts to get slightly better. And then it gets insanely efficient all of a sudden. Do I think that we're going to move more towards solar? I would have to say no. I think, weirdly enough, I think we actually might see. Isn't nuclear power the one that became like extremely efficient over the last like 20 years? But I'm not necessarily your energy expert. Trading as a second job, make money, then live life. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. If you just take trades, take like 6-month trades, like not even using options, it can be nice side money every year, or you can just build it over time, exponentially grow. Nuclear is phenomenal. I think we'll move more towards that a little bit. Or at least we'll see a little bump up in that in certain areas. Micronuclear power generation in region. Salt reactors are the future, in my opinion. Speaking as a nuclear engineer. Ooh, Ponzi, you've been holding out on us, that brain of yours. What the hell? Hey, look at this. We got some extra time today. We're not having a live show at the end of the day, so I thought I'd give you guys some extra time. Now we're tapping into that zone. What we do from here matters. If we can remain, above the center for the RSI, above the center here for the MACD, you have that chance to extend to 565. We'll see how it behaves in this area. Remember that this on the 5-minute could be your cup with that handle, reject. If it holds up better than that, that would be fantastic. Turn up right now. Turn up in the next, I would say 20 minutes. Oh, concrete's huge. Well, the richest people I ever knew in high school, his dad owned the like a concrete company, and they just got everything. They literally got everything. That's not what you want to see. You don't want to see this bigger dip down, I don't think. You want to see a wick on this? You want to see a wick like right here. If we don't get the wick, we might be heading down to lower prices now. All right, so I was about, I would say 26 minutes off. There it is. Let's see if we get the wick. If we get the wick, we can extend to 565.53. Around that area, you will form potential weakness there, and we'll be paying attention if that's going to take place. I don't think that for me, that is a trade setup. Jesse, thank you so much for subscribing, by the way. Ironically, now you do concrete flat work. Well, that was the crazy part for like even software engineers right now. The starting pay for new software engineers is as much as my brother made after like 6 years of work. And so someone that is 2 levels above them could be making the same amount as them. That's the problem we're getting into, and that's why we need to bring a bunch of jobs back here. Bring a bunch back, and you have the competition now on the benefit of the employee. You need it's kind of like the housing market, right? Seller market, buyer market. Right now, is it a employee market or an employer market? Well, you've been in an employer market for about 50 years. And now you're seeing the absolute craziness of it. Man, you really want this wick here. See if it happens. You go lower than this, it's going to be, it still can happen. You can still go to that high. It's just less probable at that point. Till they perfect the robots. Facts. Facts. Yeah, but then someone's going to have to maintain those robots, right? Until we get to the point where robots are building robots and maintaining robots. Whew. We could have robots right now. Go into that with your philosophy. You guys ever take philosophy? Prove to me right now, Oakland, that you're not a robot. You can't do it. It's impossible. The only way that I can prove that you're not a robot is by implying that I am not a robot, or by knowing that I'm not. There's your wick. Let's see what happens. Remember, just because we get the wick doesn't matter. We need to see the next few bars, see if we start to confirm above some stuff. 10 years? I think you got 50 years. I think you got 50 years. Just say this. I hope I'm dead by then. No, the wick's not going to hold. At least not yet. I personally don't want to be around for robots. I'm good. Freaking turn into Will Smith over here all of a sudden. Because it depends on who's programming the robots really matters. I'm looking forward to it. It should be an interesting time, Open Group. Baby girls make you live longer. Facts. You should see. What's the thing I have on my my range bag is like people. It's people don't kill people. Dads with cute daughters do, or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, solid little stocking stuffer there, wifey. You already have fast food restaurants that are, well, I think that's the first one to go, but you kind of don't want that. That's leaning towards just no job whatsoever. What you want to see is the system change to where, and you want to see people's spending habits change too. Okay, we weren't able to get to the bottom side. We wicked in the middle, just barely. There is risk of going down. That wick came below the center of the zone, so there is risk still of going down. But this does say you have a good chance to see an extension here. We'll see if it does. If you can extend here, maybe you extend it for some time, right? But I'd be paying close attention to the end of the day. At least robots don't spit in your burger. Yeah, but the robots might all band together one day and learn that you shouldn't be eating that burger. And actually, you're costing bad things to the environment by eating that burger. So they're going to put things that kill you over time in the burger. Ooh. I'd rather have spit than a little bit of lead in every single burger. That's what the EMPs are for. Facts, dude. Me and my buddy, like 6 months before Donald Trump became president, we sat down and we talked and, get a couple of beers and dudes that like guns together, and we're going to sit there and talk about conspiracies. And our conspiracy was we're either going to see an EMP before the election or we're going to see an assassination attempt before the election. And I leaned towards assassination attempt. And I said EMP would come after the fact. But EMP is not happening. Assassination attempt did, though. We talked about it 3 days before it happened. That was a very cool time. That was fun. We got lucky on that a little bit, right? So this looks pretty interesting for the time being. Let's go check over on Apple for just a moment here. Okay, making a couple of highs here. A little bit of weakness, not too much to be afraid of. Seems for the time being, you're more afraid when you lose the 5. You're really just more afraid when you start to break below this guy. This guy's a good staple just to have on your chart now, I think. I think this is a good hint. Are we going to use this as resistance later? But very nice. We'll see if Apple rejects from the zone on earnings. That'll be interesting. I think there's risk of an upside move that fades. Amazon, already kind of making the potential for double tops. We'll see what happens. It can extend. Once again, getting into its zone, not able to get to here. So that means if we get a bad earnings, it can be really, really bad. So we'll see. But those are a lot of ifs. There's not a lot of good ways to position money on a bunch of ifs, right? Still yet to see a turnaround here. Probably have to look at a 1-minute chart to do that. Really appreciate these streams. Thank you again for your insights. Appreciate you being here, Edward. Thank you. And thank you for saying thank you. That's a very nice thing to say in the chat. We should show gratitude all the time for things that we see as valuable, and I see you guys as valuable. So thank you guys for being here with me today. You allow me to do something meaningful with my trading, which is fantastic. Anyone brave enough to hold into tomorrow? I'm thinking about building short position from here for the end of May, to be totally honest with you. Hey, thanks, Max. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for subbing, bud. Sorry if it doesn't pop up on the screen right away or doesn't pop up at all, but I appreciate it, bud. Oh, you're good, sir. I get a lot of good value from your videos. I turned 33 this year. It's my Jesus year, baby. 33, let's go. $5K down on Nvidia, holding a short. Yeah, 5 minutes giving you some hopium. I think this might be extend to an hourly to make it clear. I think you got a shot here that this is all a trap. Nvidia's your hint, not able to break through and really go into the center, right? The way to do this more is prove that this is very bad. What we could do to prove this is very, very bad is make a zone. Probably going to ignore the overextend. Yeah, we'll include it. And we'll do something like this. You'll notice, what are you right around? It's a very big zone, but what are you right around? You're around that center. Notice where we run into problems, right? So you need to break through that. You need to see good things, and you don't want to give it up. But yeah, we marked off 114.45. Like I said, you don't, once you do it for long enough, you don't have to make zones. You can kind of figure it out based on this, based on the price action, where you see those reactions, retest, pretty obvious. So you need to see good things here, because if the hourly chart just does this and breaks that low, what are you looking like? Oh, we're going to use this as resistance now and head down. So we can get rid of these zones, by the way, so you're not confused, because I mark them off based on my thinking. So we don't need to do that. Yeah, so Nvidia's in a rough spot, saying I could reverse down. The market so far, the 5-minute, not able to do much with that wick, but just getting some inside trading here. Inside. See if this is able to curl up now. If this is able to curl up from right here, if this is able to take back these moving averages, break back above 561.50, break back above 561.50 should lead us, there's still risk of seeing this, but the more probable thing is to go test 565 to 565.50, I would say. I appreciate you definitely have made extra money because of your insight. Hey, that's great, Chris. And let's make sure to always say, if we're talking about wins, let's understand that losses can come, right? You're always going to hear me snap back your thinking just a little bit, just to be like, hey, there could be something bad down the line, right? If you're doing well, don't think you're invincible. This thing can flip on its head. You have some very, very, very important things tomorrow. You have unemployment. Let's just pull it up. Right? Let's remind you, what do we have tomorrow? Today, continuing jobless claims, initial jobless claims, increase. Continuing jobless claims, increase. The previous, increase. That's not good. PMI, still below the previous. Pretty expected. Nothing too much to worry about there. Tomorrow, non-farm payrolls, supposed to decrease. Unemployment rate, supposed to stay the same. If that increases, more things are adding up to. This could be some kind of earnings trap. Earnings itself, all that has to happen here is Apple actually gives that guidance and gives an excuse for why they're doing bad. And that's what you got. What's the high there? 561.37. So if we can close a 5-minute bar above 561.37, then an extension to 565.53, very possible. I am in no way going to trade this area at all, though. I think anything could happen up here. I think it's more so going to leak into the end of the day, but you never know with these type of things what people do. They could front run stuff like they did yesterday, and if they front run downside and you're caught in this up here, it can be rough. Apple and Amazon earnings are not something you want to fuck around with. I'm just going to tell you right now. Started in October. So you had a good period and you had a bad period. That's a good thing, Christopher. If you have a good period of time, you can see what you did right. And then right after that, you have a bad period of time, you can see what you did wrong. And if you just tell me this right now, Christopher, and tell me if this might make sense to a lot of people. If you had the environment where you're good at stuff and you just trade in that environment and then you sat out the rest of the year, if you notice it wasn't your environment, wouldn't you have been better off, right? 15 to 55? That's really good return. That's when you double something like that, 15K to 30K. That's an extra 15K. You know what you do at that point? You go, whew, I beat the S&P 500. That's what you say at that point. And then you wait for your opportunity again. You be very freaking patient. Most newer traders have no experience trading bear markets. It is different entirely. Need to adjust strategy and trading style. Exactly. And those are some things that we talk about. High volatility, taking profit a little bit quicker, shortening up that position size. Starting shorts is where I've lost all my money. First few months, waited for lowish levels, bought one, works. Yes, bullish will be easier than bearish. Most of the time. But the times where bullish can be worse off than bearish is in a bear market, right? Because it's supposed to rip everyone apart. It goes back and forth. Okay, let's see this. Green bar. High 561.26. No break above 561.37. So still opportunity that this could go lower now. Still no breakout to the upside. Nothing suggesting upside is super probable yet. Good wick. Good wick. No good upside just yet. With the China stimulus, and then lucky again with the Trump pump, then held onto Tesla calls too long into November. Your trades having a condition that buying the dip is always the strategy, and bear market shorting rips is typically a better strategy. Yep, above 20, and paying attention to things like 5-day moving average, gamma flip. Once you're below those type of things, it's a lot more big moves, so you can make good money if you know what you're doing. right? You can see big rips up, big rips down, right? Selling begets selling, buying begets buying. Now you are potentially shifting that around, but we're right at the middle area where you're kind of, pretty much this zone that we keep talking about over here that we're testing right now is the zone where we figure out, what kind of market are we going to be in for May? Are we going to be in the selling begets selling, buying beget buying, selling begets selling, where the rips get sold in both directions? Or are we going to be in some kind of bull market that resolves itself by getting above here, above 576, and then we can just see those dips, a 2 to 4% dip a week, keep this thing good. So, yeah. Yeah, just go study the bear market. If you want practice, I know it's hindsight, but you could, if you have replay mode or something, that would be very good. Yeah, I believe it's at the right around here, 550, 550. But you don't necessarily want to be like, oh, I'm positive gamma, so now everything's positive again. Not right away. Not right away. That's why I don't really pay attention to gamma too much. And I know that's probably silly, right? It's probably silly, but I just don't think it's necessary for myself. It is something that you can pay attention to. Yeah, I'll pull up a guy that I know, uses it and be like, all right, we positive, negative, what's up? Bull markets are easy because you just see a 2% pullback. You see a 2-hour dip down to the center line, you buy it. Then it goes up. Then you sell it at a weekly move. Then you see another pullback on the daily scale or on the 2-hour scale to the center line. Then you buy it. Every single time. Until you start to see those big divergences on bigger time frames. You see a 2-hour divergence. Okay, I'll wait for the daily pullback. All right, daily pulls back to the center line. All right, it curls up. I'm going to buy it. Right? Thoughts on SPY going up? I think we'll end up going to new all-time highs. I really do. But I just think we might need to test the lows even down all the way to 480 before the month is up. So I think you're at risk of seeing something. And then I think you're going to see major de-escalation with tariffs. I think you're going to see something about China. De-escalation from China is the biggest thing you'll be looking for. Deals with India and stuff like that, that'd just be good. That can bottom you out. But what causes you to see upside dramatically is when China flips. That's how I see it right now. That's just how I see it for the time being. We'll see if it shapes up to be, right? Thoughts are great. Price action is better. Thoughts keep me aware. Price action, MACD, RSI, these things actually cause me to take action. Awareness does not mean action. I can be aware that there's a car accident in front of me, but I can move if that is going to hit me, right? Once I see it actually going to hit me. Thoughts are great, but everyone has one. They're like assholes, right? Because if you keep trying to follow the news, you're going to be behind at all times. You're just going to be the most manipulated trader ever. All right, here we go. Dipping down again. Remember, if we break through this zone, there is still a chance to curl up, right? That's why we still pay attention to MACD and RSI. The market does crazy things. But as we break to the bottom side, if we're able to break that wick there and go down a little bit lower, anywhere past, what's the actual low here? 558.69. You break below that, you can start to use this little area as resistance, and we're starting to look for downside potentially into the zone, which means to me, if we're doing this throughout this trading session and we see that turn around, right, we see the 30-minute maybe even cross here, right? You might even see this. We're looking for that extended move one more time, I think. This, I think that could be bad into tomorrow. Something like this, I think we're bad into tomorrow as well. But something more like we break down completely and show this, then I think we look like we're going to extend that into Friday and then look for the short at the close pretty much. And by short at the close, I more so mean like it's going to go down. I don't know if I'll short the damn thing. I might for like a month or something. News is a distraction. News is to convince you, if you're a good, technical, skilled guy who understands market movements, news is to tell you you are wrong. The things you are seeing are not happening. News is to tell you that what you're seeing will never get better. Snap. Oh God. This is some pretty God, this is some where's Richard at? This is some TG type stuff. Yeah, Snap, super risky into the, what do we call this, guys? What do we talk about when this happens before the earnings? What is this? Who can mention it? Richard, I'm pretty sure TG pointing this out. What do we call this? What do we call this around earnings time? I'll give you a hint. It's on the Monopoly board. It's a card on the Monopoly board. Do you remember? What do we call this? Retail being used as exit liquidity? Oakland Group. Maybe we should read into that with SPY right now. Go to jail. This is called your get out of jail free card. This is your get out of jail free card. If you really thought that this was good, okay, awesome. That's fantastic. You're probably looking at what? Hey, the bullish thing, right? 2 hour curled up, higher low. Let's go. Take it back to 5. And then before earnings, you see this. If I have a trade at the actual good point, and then if I'm actually, treating this like trading, like not trying to just say, oh, this looks good, now I'm going to buy it. Oh, it went up, so it's going to continue to go up with earnings, right? That's a problem. That's FOMO. We want to see that thing curl up and give us confirmation. We get confirmation. And we never see that thing turn back. And then you see that E at the bottom of the screen, right? And you're all the way up here. And you just saw a move from that buy point. If you just watched a 2 hour chart for the potential swing into positive territory, you saw a move all the way up 17% before earnings. What do we call that? A get out of jail free card. Because you saw this, you could leave runners. You could take full profit. You don't have to be around some kind of black or red kind of moment. But I'm pretty sure the Tits Gang had calls here. That's all. I popped in to see if Richard was there the other day, and I'm pretty sure they were talking about how they all have calls on Snap. Be cautious. If you get a get out of jail free card, that's great. What's Amazon right now? Maybe. What's Nvidia right now? Maybe. No earnings down the line. What's Apple right now? Maybe. Get out of jail free cards are looking like they're everywhere if you're in these plays. We are breaking through, I believe. Oh my gosh, did we actually wick below it? No, we did not wick below it. We did not wick below it yet. We'll see. This is probably setting up some 1 minute crap. Yeah, you're setting up some potential 1 minute crap. I do not have faith in that whatsoever. The only way that I hold during earnings is a few reasons. Fun. Come on, guys. We don't always have to be stressed out with plays. We can have fun with them and just be like, black or red. Cool. I did that yesterday, technically. I mean, it's just the technical setup was there. But for the time being, you're just like, interesting. Do I want to assume if I bet $10,000 2 weeks before earnings, and then I see a 17% move up in 2 weeks, and I still have a couple weeks left in those contracts, Am I going to hold on to all that if it's worth $20,000, $25,000? You know what I would at least sell? $10,000 worth. Then I could be a super degen however I want. What I would say is I would probably sell potentially to make a double, right? Make a double, make 20 grand, leave 5,000 on the table. You see it go down, sell the 5,000 right away in the morning. All right, cool. Now it's worth 1,000, 2,000. Earnings is a crazy thing. And then you go, okay, cool. Take my profit. Just saying, if a stock gives you a get out of jail free card, what, if you get a get out of jail free card in Monopoly, do you use it right away or do you sit in jail? Do you use it or do you sit in jail the whole game until you're just losing? You're losing Monopoly. You'd probably use the get out of jail free card on the very first time. What, are you gonna sit there and roll doubles? You gonna base it on chance, on hope that you roll doubles? No, just you guys, this is take your money and run type of moves here. Right, this 5-minute curls up, and I'm being risky. I'm going, yeah, I took calls here, and I'm being risky, and I'm saying, oh, this is gonna do this. I know it's gonna do that. You don't know it's gonna do that. But if it did, and you get to this level, you bet your ass, you better be like, oh, sick. You better at least be like, oh, thank you. Tried buying at 563. I don't know what to do. Should I get out? Harry, I would say this right away. Stop doing options if you're asking questions like that. It's too risky. You can trade it for a while till you get comfortable and then slowly do those plays over time. You cannot jump into the deep end right away when you're a child. A child. Unless you got one of those crazy moms that just throws their baby in the pool or something. I don't know. Which scares the crap out of me. Dip your toes in the water first, right? Practice in the kiddie pool first with investing, right? Investing, and maybe you never have to leave the kiddie pool. That's the win. The win is never having to do options, Harry, okay? So if you have something and it's going the wrong way and you're very, very new, and let's hope you didn't, it depends on the position size. If you're in a moment of hopium, you see nothing that could turn around your thing right now. What's the best decision to make? A decision. A decision. Do something. Put some lines in the sand right now. Hey, if we break this, I am out, so I'm not losing. If we curl up, I can remain in without breaking that low. I can remain in. And then once I get to here, I'm out. Make those key things right now, right? That's what I like to do. Give me the reason, give me the decision making. Make sure I have to, especially if I'm in a backwards position right now. Exactly. Time is against you. That's why I'm saying trading shares is a perfectly fine thing to do. There's plenty of stocks that are moving up by 20% per week. It's crazy. Learning how to ride a bike. I love that. That's actually funny. Learning how to ride a bike. Yeah, I'm gonna put you on a rocky mountain. I'm gonna put you on a rocky old mountain and be like, all right, learn how to ride a bike now. Stupid work, have to head off. Hey, Ember, thank you for stopping by today. All right, guys, I went way past. I was really trying to wait and see if this would curl up. Look where you are, center line. Center line. We get the pump here. Oof. We get the pump here. That's kind of wild. But we never violated the bottom. That's a good sign. It's not a perfect sign, but it's a good sign. Yeah. So we'll see if this thing can curl up. The risky areas, the decision-making area, still right here, right? Still right here, especially for this week. If you need updated monthly expected moves, we have those up. You can look at last night's video if you need them for the SPY and the Qs. If you do need some more monthly expected moves, or even daily expected moves for tomorrow's close, if you have options expiration, we will be giving that out later tonight on Patreon. So you can join Patreon down in the description. We'll talk about learning and stuff like that over the weekend. And then for now, just note, no live show in the afternoon today or tomorrow, but next week we'll be doing live shows on YouTube in the morning and the afternoon. I think we're going into some Crazy, crazy time. So I think being here for the most amount of people possible will be a good thing. So thank you guys for being such a great crowd today. Thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate you spending your time today. And now we just have to figure out which way this market's going to go with a risky weekend ahead. So peace out.